Hello and welcome to MotorMotion E-Series, where we return for the TrackSpotTV Manufacturer Masters. It is round 3 out of 6 as we barrel towards the halfway point in this epic season. Primary sponsors of this event, of course, TrackSpotTV, and it is time for a revolution in sim racing broadcasting, professional grade immersion, graphics and overlays, commentary, and multi-platform streaming. TrackSpotTV is the proud broadcast partner of MotorMotion E-Series. Let's take a look at the calendar for this week. Of course, round 1 at Trial Mountain, all but done. Same goes for round 2 at Deep Forest. We saw a real showdown of the manufacturers. But this time it's round 3 at the fictional circuit of Sardegna A at the little island off the Italian coast. There's a 15-minute qualifying all but done and a 30-lap race for your viewing pleasure in both Split 1 and Split 2 today. Time of day will be afternoon and a little mix-up in the weather with some cloud coming over the top of this island. Round 4, Kyoto Driving Park as we head towards Tokyo and the beautiful location in Japan. Round 5, Dragon Trail Seaside, and round 6 finale at St. Croix B on the 20th of May. Broadcast, of course, on Tuesday. Let's take a little look at the current standings for Group 3. Gopi Mahindajit in the lead, but only just because he's equal to Mark Hasselbein, both of them with 2 race wins to their names, followed by Lewis Atkinson, Tony Griffin, Nick Pfaff, Craig Hardcourt, Richard Robinson, and Ricky Atwell, your top 8 in the Group 3 standings. In the Group 4 standings, Glenn Mead is on top by 1 point for One Bite Racing. Xander Stewart for Yugen Global coming in a close second at 35 points, equal with Matt McCullum for CP Motorsports. Michael Brill, Blake Williamson, David Crook, Scott Taylor, and Luke Stone round out your top 8 in the Group 4. For the team's title, it is BMW. It is Manufacturer Masters right now for Hasselblad Motorsport on 64 points, closely followed though by Gridline Racing's Ferraris on 62 points. Another close call between them and One Bite Racing in 3rd place, Yugen Global in 4th, MotorMotion Racing Team in 5th, Lamborghini in 6th for CP Motorsports, Hooncorp Esports 7th, and Astra Racing rounding out the grid. Let's head over to our commentators for Split 1.
Thank you, George. Good evening, everyone, and welcome in for round number 3. It is the Manufacturers Masters. It is myself, John Wright, aka Double O Raven, and joining me once again, it is the all-swinging, all-dancing monkey Matt. It's Mr. Matt Smith. A terrible pun to enter. We should set expectations early. Matt, how are we doing this evening ahead of our trip to an Italian sunny island?
Good evening, John. Yeah, I'm excited for this track. I love that this championship we're seeing the Gran Turismo original circuits throughout. So another race to come tonight, and I can't wait to get into it.
Indeed, yeah, 5 miles long, this beautiful track. Plenty of twists and turns for the drivers to navigate. Again, it's going to be a 30-lap outing, and once again, Matt, we're going to see that all-important pit strategy. For me, other than Gopi Mahindajit at the top of the table, the strategy calls have been the big talking point of the season, and with Sardegna's tyre wear, we're going to see a lot more decision-making from the drivers tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, the tyre wear, but also keep in mind the fuel. So I did some sneaky testing at this circuit earlier in the week, and I don't think the 50% fuel is going to make it to halfway. So then, do you want to do a longer second stint? Are the softs going to last on a longer second stint? It's all the questions that these drivers have to answer.
Indeed, yeah, and we won't have to wait long until we get those answers. There is the top 3 in qualifying, and stand back aghast, Gopi Mahindajit took pole position. Forza Ferrari once again, the only driver to get sub 1 minute 41. Grid line racing looking very good at the moment, but has to be said, Yugen Global, they've taken second in the 3s and first in the 4s. Dernetti and Stewart finding their groove in quali. Not far behind though, Hooncorp Esports, Lewis Atkinson with a 1 minute 41.2. The GT4s, as you can see, they're 8 seconds slower than the GT3, so we're going to see plenty of difference. Plenty of lapping going on around this track. It's going to be fun. Shane Attard for Astor Racing in second, and MotorMotion Racing once again making the top 3 in quali. Michael Brill having a brilliant season Apologies. Starting this one in third place, as you would expect now, Matt. We didn't see Gr.3 in the top 3 in the opening round, but he certainly made up for it. Gopi Mahindra is an absolute force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely right. We've got a sort of a consistent set of drivers making their way to the top of the grids, haven't we? But it is important to mention here as well that we have rearranged the splits a little bit, so that's why we're seeing Xander Stewart and Shane Attard are now in split 1. They've been moved, and in the Group 3 class we've lost Nick Pfaff and Nathan Wakefield. They're moved into split 2, so we'll see them later on.
Indeed, yeah, it's going to make it an even more interesting dynamic throughout the field. We should see some very, very, very close racing. And of course, a couple of drivers that didn't make the last round are back. Well, I think that is time. We have had enough of a warm-up. Let's see what we all came for. It is race 1 from this evening. And we are off to Sardegna A for the starting grid right now. And there we go, 16 teams, 16 manufacturers lined up for 30 laps. Many pit stops will be taken. The lights are out and they are foot down flag. And look at third place. What a start that is. Lewis absolutely up the inside, leaves Gr.3 absolutely start. Oh no, sorry, Gr.3's taking the lead. It's Gr.3 that's taking the lead. I was not looking at that properly. Gr.3's taking the lead from Lewis. Mahindra has lost 2 off the start. Water Arrow could be right into this one as well. And it looks like a bit of and 3 wide in the GT4s. Right behind them through turn number 3 as well. Water Arrow in 4th. Gr.3 takes the lead. Lewis in 2nd. That could not be a better start for Gr.3. Collins in 5th behind Water Arrow. Robinson in 6th place is then Grimbat in 7th. 8th place is Gr.4, leading the way though in the GT4s. That is Dubzetto GT once again finding himself straight up at the top of the table. Oh, that's a good corner by the both of them there, Dubzetto. Oh no, sorry, he's just dropped down to 10th place. I'm looking over at 2 different lists of names here. There is Attard, who started up in the top 3 in the GT4s. He now finds himself, sorry, where was he? 11th place. Yeah. So there we go, yeah, Xander Stewart, sorry, yeah, we've got Boosted Blake in 12th place. Oh, that's a big clumsy contact, and multiple contacts on the way out. That is a big, oh, and they've gone right into the wall. Oh, Boosted Blake there, Matt. That is not what we're used to seeing, just a big coming together, and one car comes round the corner, can't do anything for the car that's going on, and finds himself facing into the wall at the back of the grid.
Disaster on the opening lap there. I wanted to talk about this track actually in terms of last week. We saw the track limits causing a lot of penalties. This week, the track limits are walls, so you can't really get in a fight with those. And we saw what happens if you do attempt to take on a wall. It's basically going to be the end of your chance, and with the heavy damage as well, I think they might end up having to come around and come into the pits, which just adds to the pain.
Yeah, it really does. I've said it before and I'll say it again, especially the GT3 cars with those carbon fibres. They're held together with hopes, dreams and wishes and the odd bit of super glue. None of those will survive first contact with the wall. Oh my goodness gracious me, what an overtake that was. Oh, but he's lost it again on the exit. Sorry, Lewis has got it back, so he's got the cutback, and all the while Water Arrow is going to get himself involved in the podium battle. And Matt Gr.3, I did say this was the perfect start for him, and it really still is. Lewis is still holding off Mahindra. Mahindra trying an absolute worldie of a move. It looked for all the world that he got it done, but Lewis, not today, good Ferrari driver. And I tell you what, Water Arrow was all over the back of Gr.3. Gr.3's got a big problem now. Not Gr.3, sorry, Mahindra has got the problem. As he goes a bit inside again, there's a bit of contact on the exit. He's lost the back, and Water Arrow's then touched his rear end, and it's put Lewis back into 2nd place. Did I say perfect start for Matt Gr.3, or did I say perfect start for Matt Gr.3? As Water Arrow now putting the serious hurt on this final podium battle. Mahindra has shown his hand early doors. He wants that position back, but he just can't quite make it stick as he goes for it again.
Little mistake there from Water Arrow there, just tucked in and tapped the wall on the inside, so lost out on the straight, and it's going to again be Lewis versus Mahindra down the straight. Can that Ferrari have the straight line speed into turn number 1? But what a battle we are seeing early doors in this race. It's the first time that Gr.3 has really had to be in a battle like this, as he's led from start to finish in the previous 2 races. But now we're seeing, can he take the fight to Lewis, and how much Lewis has been able to fight back so far. Scrappy exit from the Ferrari. Is Lewis going to have another chance, or is that Gr.3 through to second? No, he's going to have to defend into the next corner, and I think he's just about sealed off that position now. So what a battle, and great racecraft from Gr.3.
Yeah, incredible scenes from these two on the podium at Water Arrow with the best seats in the house for everything that's going on. Maternetti, let's see just how big the Ferrari badge, or just how quickly the Ferrari badge looms large in his rear view mirror. Can Lewis now hang on to that slipstream? Water Arrow is getting pulled along as well. As we can see, Colin is in a big battle with Robinson. They're going side by side. Robinson's got the move done in the Porsche. It's very nicely done, not known for its straight. Oh, and he's popping out the inside and up. He's not quite close enough. He's going to be heavy on the brakes. Is he going to try and nail it on the apex? He is going to go for the apex. Definitely got it better than the Porsche did there, but doesn't get the run down the hill that he needs. We've got Grimbach in 7th and Gr.4 in 8th. And then it is Street to Track. Oh, superb. Scusi, sorry. I know the Street to Track chaps. What an absolutely phenomenal bunch they are. Leading the way. He's been moved up, of course, from split 2, Xander Stewart. And he now finds himself up at the front in the Honda with Dubzetto fighting back. He's got his way back up to 2nd place. Let me just confirm. Dubzetto. Yeah, of course, Michael Brill. Why does that take me so long? Why is it taking me so long for some of these names to stick? It is terrible. Although you could all do with keeping the same names. But the Dubzetto for MotorMotion. And they're having a good season so far, and he's fought back up to 2nd place, Matt. So the motor looks absolutely stunning. I do like that pearlescent effect. It looks incredible in that light. But Dubzetto fighting back, and we certainly can't count him out for a solid contender for the race winner. He's already made back 2 positions that he lost at the start, and he is more than keeping pace with Xander Stewart ahead of him.
Absolutely, and Dubzetto, who is Michael Brill, is clearly pushing, trying to chase down that lead, because out of that last corner had a real moment getting right up close to the wall. Got away with it that time, but you can't afford to go any harder than that through that final corner. So they're really trying to chase down Xander Stewart out in front, who is starting to open up just a little bit of a gap in the lead of the GT4 class.
Yeah, we've got Marty McFarty back racing this week in the mighty Mercedes. What an engine note that thing's got. He is lurking in 5th place. And the petrol tank in that Mercedes, actually, I was just about to comment on, he's in a Mercedes. It might look and sound good, but it certainly chews its, in fact, it drinks its way through the petrol. I think it's got a hole in the petrol tank sometimes, but he's actually done quite well in his opening 4 laps. He's only just tickled the tank ever so slightly to hold on to 4th. He's got a decent gap back to Blue Dog and Fly as well. Fly, of course, absolutely incredible individual. Blue Dog.
Oh, so this is Blue Dog. He's got damage on the front of the car there in his Ford, so he's just looks like he's just running around with it, but that might have been from the contact early on.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. There is Fly there. He doesn't have any damage, but he is absolutely flying there at the back. He's ahead of Boosted Blake, who has got a bit of damage, I think.
Oh, so these two have pitted, and they've come back out with full fuel as well, so this is kind of trying to make a recovery drive after the early drama that we did see in the GT4 category. Some drivers in the wall have opted to repair the damage, and racing hard, in fact, on that car as well. So they may be trying to go long and see what they can recover in this race.
Yeah, well, you did say you'd done some cheeky testing yourself in your 2-stop strategy, definitely on the cars. Oh, is the race lead is going to change hands, or is it? Oh. Squirrely exit from Dernetti, but he's still got his nose in front. Runs down the hill, the Honda looking very quick in the straight line, as you would expect. The Ferrari looking twistier and tighter through the turns. Water Arrow still just behind Lewis, so that battle's still going on. But Gopi Mahinja once again showing his hand as early as possible. He wants that overtake, he wants the top spot. This is absolutely new ground for him at the moment. He's never been in 2nd place at any point in time. I don't even think he's ever been in pit box 2. I'm pretty sure he's in pit box 1 as well. He's that quick into the surface. As the yes, we're coming up to boosted brakes. So we did say 8-second difference between the top GT3 and top GT4. Look how smoothly they get past there. Very nicely done. Need a lot more GT3 traffic coming through for the 4. So yeah, 6 laps in. 12, 18, 24, 30. Yeah, so we could see quite a few more lappings as predicted. Mahinja hit with a 1 minute 41.1, so almost into qualifying pace for himself. That is almost quicker than Gr.'s qualifying time already, which is absolutely incredible. Quarter of a tank of the fuel used, and it does look like you're absolutely spot on, Matt, as these two tear through the tyres. They're tearing through the fuel as well. 6 laps in. Half of their allocation gone. They've got a quarter of a tank left, so we're looking at 12 laps. So the 2-stop is definitely on. I think that's why everyone is out on the soft tyres, because they're going to have to pit twice anyway.
Well, I'm not sure about the 2-stop actually, because it is a long pit lane here, so that is another difference from the previous track, where they were taking about 17 seconds in a pit stop. Here, I think it could be over 25 even, once you're taking on fuel as well. So I think they might sort of have to try and make these tyres last, or just do a longer second stint and maybe use the mediums this time around rather than the soft. So I think, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see a little bit of how that one resolves. But in the meantime, we've got some cracking racing between these two. Gr.3 is not biding his time in second place at all. He means business. He's closed the gap down after overtaking Lewis, now right on the back of Martinetti and next to Martinetti, and is trying to suss himself out for the inside line into turn 1 as there's lap traffic in the way, but they managed to get through there just about. And the straight line speed of this Honda, it looks like he's keeping ahead. No,
Yes,
I said it
indeed.
too soon.
Yeah, you did on you go back. He's got that absolutely nailed.
What an absolute pass. What an absolute move from Gr.3 Mahindra. Just spotted the opportunity late on the brakes because he didn't have the overlap heading into the braking zone. Deep, and got the move done. What a pass into turn number 1, and that is how it's done. If anyone's watching at home, learning, trying to improve your Gran Turismo skills, keep an eye on this man because his driving is top class.
It really is, and it perfectly highlighted the difference between the cars and just how quick Gr.3 is. As you touched on there, the Honda in a straight line is otherworldly, but the Ferrari through the corners, the Ferrari definitely a much more all-round GT3 compared to the Honda, that's for sure. I know the Honda doesn't have any form of traction. Even if you put it on, it drops traction below, I believe it's 50 kilometers an hour.
Big moment there for Gr.3 Mahindra on the exit. We're talking about he might have the extra grip as Martinetti closed in down the straight, and then on the exit got it sideways, and now there's nothing between them through 12 and 13, which is a scary spot close to the walls there at high speed. They're getting through there again. They'll come out of this final corner. How close can Matt keep? Trying to use that speed, try and get a nice exit. It's actually opened up, so the handling of that Ferrari and of Gr.3's driving has opened that gap, and I don't think Matt's going to be close enough this time around.
No, he's definitely not. He's going to be struggling just to hang on in the back of the slipstream. Gr.3 is not messing about. He is making up for lost time in second place. Me. Apologies. Lewis is having a very good race as well, though, has to be said. He is well within sight of Gr.3, and he's just set a personal best lap with a 1 minute 41.6. So he's definitely keeping pace with Gr.3. He's got half a second down on Mahinja hit, but then, yeah. No shame in that. That still means you're absolutely world class. It's just Gr.3 is next level to world class, if there even is such a thing. Water Arrow still in 4th place, having a good race. He was keeping up with the podium, dropping off ever so slightly. He's out on the softs as well. So again, with this pit stop strategy, it looks like all the GT3s have opted to start on the quickest tyres possible, with Robinson in 5th place. Another driver, now that he's shedding some weight in the car with the fuel going, setting personal best sectors as well. He's been down into 42.7s, so needs to find a bit of pace in the second stint to close up on the 4 ahead. He is still ahead of Colin and Gr.4. I'm sure I know Gr.4 as well, actually, now that I think about it. 44.4s for Colin in 5th, as we see, just ahead of Gr.4. He was involved in a battle for 5th place, but he's now behind Colin in 7th. And Street to Tracks Scozy there. Yeah, he is leading the way in the Group 4s, so we're either missing a car or we've got Oh, we've got someone that's pitted, I'm hearing, from race control. And another driver setting personal bests. So they're all enjoying the clear air ahead of him, and he is certainly enjoying the lead. He's got a decent gap over Dubzetto. It looked like Dubzetto was keeping pace with him, but Michael Brill just levelling out at the moment. What is he? 1 minute 49.6. So yeah, a wee touch slower. But he's on the podium, and he's ahead of Atard in third place. Marty McFarty in fourth. I think we're marking fifth, and Blue Dog in sixth place. I think Blue Dog is still carrying a bit of damage. He's not carrying much in the way of fuel though compared to some of the other GT4s. And in fact, there is Grimbot. He's come back out. He's taken his first pit stop. And I'll tell you what, he's not taking on much fuel there, so he's obviously going to be going for the two-stop strategy there, Matt, because that's only half a tank he's got, and we've seen that only going to get you 8 to 10 laps, so he's definitely on for the two-stopper.
Yep, absolutely right. So he's going to be the first comparison we get to see of how that sort of strategy stacks up against everyone else on the fresh tyres now. So can he go and, maybe think about an undercut situation and try and push on fresh tyres?
Yes, sorry, I was on mute there. But yeah, Grimbot, he is out on the fresh tyre, so we'll see what type of lap times he can set. He's going to have a bit of GT4 traffic, but as we've seen, they do make their way through very easily indeed. Flies in 15th and boosted Blake after the early pit stop down at the back of the GT4 grid. And it is still Gr.3 Mahinja who is tearing his way past the blue flag traffic. But I'll tell you actually, Gr.3 is very close. Gr.3 is very close, and the Gr.3 Mahinja is a second down. We're going into turn number 1, and we're going to see a reverse move. Is the Honda going to manage to nail it around the outside? He is holding on for dear life. Sorry, turn 2 that is, of course, into the S-Bends. This is where the Ferrari will flourish, and it does indeed. Mahinja that is holding off Gr.3 for the moment, and that is a big caveat. So, not sure what happened there, Matt, but whatever it is, thank you very much, Sim Racing Gods. Ding ding seconds out, round 17 between Gr.3 and Mahinja in Sardegna.
How good's this? I think Gopi there got a little bit compromised on the exit of the last corner by the lapsed traffic. Had to back off a little bit to not make contact, and that's what allowed Matt to get right back stuck in, trying to make them overtake work. And we're starting to see, look at that fuel level. I think we're going to see pit stops at the end of this lap 10.
Yeah, I just noticed that as well as I handed that over to you there. I had a quick look down and I thought the GT4s, the Honda is around the outside again, but he's going to be on the grass. He's got 2 wheels on the gravel. There's been a bit of contact on the exit. The Ferrari's got 2 wheels on the grass, and he's managed to make it back in front. And that's an incredible run down the hill.
Oh, damage.
Right tyres for the Honda, left tyres for... Oh, wow, good spot. I'm looking at the fuel, and Matt, who's actually paying attention to what's going on, Mahinja has got damage, so a fortuitous time to be pitting, Matt.
And here comes Lewis. It's going to be a three-way fight any moment now. And yeah, like you say, they will be thinking about the pit. Mahinja has a little bit more fuel, so I wonder if they were planning to do one more lap, but is that going to change now? Yes, they all dart towards the pit lane, or the front two at least dart towards the pit lane as Lewis carries on. Matt had to come in, 1% fuel, so he'll be in there for half a second longer as we have a 10 litres per second refuel rate in this series. But there we go, the end of lap 10. So I was talking about it being a one-stop, but maybe this is looking like a two-stop. We're going to see how that plays out in a moment as the weather starts to roll in at the circuit.
Indeed it does, yeah. The weather technicians have been keenly watching. Oh wow, the dust kick up from the cars. Yeah, they've been watching the weather radar, and we do have cloud rolling in, variable weather over the race tonight. Robinson stayed out as well. The Poor's getting another lap. Ooh, a few overcuts here. This could pay dividends for quite a few drivers. Looks like Gr.3 is back out the pits ahead of Mahinja, who of course had to get that damage repaired.
And there it is as well.
I'm going to say he's out ahead, Matt. I mean, it's not by much.
No, it's absolutely not. The battle's going to carry on. And we've got confirmation Matt's on the mediums with full fuel tank. So he's thinking about going the whole way. And Gope, did we see it there? Also on the mediums. So there we go, confirmation that they are going to try this one-stop strategy. but they do have the harder compounded tyres, so they will be a little bit slower in this stint. Is anyone else going to try something different behind them to try and catch back up and close steal
Two-stop on the
positions?
softs. Yeah, could be worth it. Could be worth it. But certainly Mahinja has got himself back ahead of Gr.3. There's Water Arrow in third. He's on the softs on full fuel. Now that is a bold strategy, Colin. Oh, and that is a whole lot of Shakira type action there. He was shimmy shaking on the way out of the corner, and he's managed to shimmy shake his way out of the net lead of the race and into the slipstream of Matt, the persistent Gr.3. He is, I'm going to run out of funny little adjectives to pop before his name. He is very much involved, and Gopi Mahinja, could it be possible? Have we now proven that Mahinja is in fact an alien and this track is his kryptonite? Because this is not what we're used to seeing from him so far, as they go side by side into turn number 2 again, Matt.
And again, we see the Ferrari pull out of the slipstream and then doesn't have any extra pace. That Honda has the legs down the straight. Doesn't defend the inside, though. Through goes Gope. Are they going to be too deep? The fight's coming back because here comes Matt next to him. He's going to get back past again. The back and forth. This battle is quickly turning into an all-time classic. What a fight we have on our hands for the lead of the race. And they're thinking about the championship as well, trying to get points for their team.
Indeed, yeah. Lewis, of course, he is out. He's in the net lead of the race, or the on-track lead, net lead of the race at the moment, because he's taking a pit stop as well. But he's gone for half a tank of fuel on the soft. So the strategy that Matt and I surmised someone might try to get the move done on the 2 ahead. Well, step up Lewis. And he is absolutely going for it. He's just gone past some GT4s. He's got Colin Gr.4 behind him there in the GT4s. Oh, sorry, yes, they are GT3s, of course they are. Ah, yes, and they're about to run out of fuel, so they're going to be into the pits. So, sorry, yeah, Colin and Gr.4, wow, so their fuel tanks lasted pretty impressively. Here comes Gr.3, and wow, he's running away with it. There's Robinson into the pits down to 1 litre of fuel. Is Mahinja carrying damage? I missed it the last time. No, he's not.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, situation, isn't it? So they've changed tyres, and it looks like the sort of the speed difference between them has changed as well. Matt Gr.3 enjoying the mediums on these first couple of laps, and we're seeing a lot of different strategies play out as well. So quite a bit of variation that I'm sure will come together in the end. Lewis taking less fuel. Half a tank of fuel, so that would have saved him about 5 seconds into the pit stop. That's why he's come out now into the lead of the race. And then Colin and Gr.4, they're sort of the strategy I was thinking might be the go, where you save a little bit of fuel into the first stint and then try and split the race as close to evenly as possible. Maybe make it lap 12, 13, 14 if you can. But yeah, a real mix-up, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. As we look at the GT4 class, and it is Xander Stewart getting sideways, but he's going a good distance here as well. He's made it to lap 12, still with, I was going to say a little bit of fuel, maybe not. I think surely we're going to see him come in from the lead of the GT4s.
Yes, indeed. And there he goes. Into the pits. He's going to be followed in by Michael Brill, Marty McFarty in the Mercedes. Loving alliteration, and that is a cracker. Just coming through the penalty line, he got himself all kinds of out of shape there through sector 2. That's absolutely not what he needs. And there is his teammate there. One of the early pitting GT3s, down in 11th place, but again, he's on the softs. He's got a quarter of a tank, so he is going to be coming back in, so another 2-stopper there. Robinson looks like he got back out the pits in 7th place after his late pit stop. Colin and Gr.4 currently running 2nd and 3rd in the GT3s, but it is back out of the pits and into the, and maintains the lead, sorry, of the GT4 class. It is Scozy, and he's got 3/4 of a tank of fuel and medium tyres on. So you would say, Matt, he is running to the end of the race. So cloudy, cold weather, needs to get these tyres warmed up. Head down, focus. He's done the first part of the task. Now just needs to bring this one home.
Absolutely right, in a strong position now out in front in the Honda as well. He's got his teammate fighting for the lead in the Honda in the GT3 class, so definitely a strong team between the two of them there. And with the mix-up of the lobbies, they're in the race together as well.
Yep, there is the on-track race leader in the GT3s. He gets himself involved in the GT4 podium battle with Etard and Michael Brill bringing the action from there. And look how close they are. The Nissan GT-R. I've been told by many that that's the only way to say it. I've been warned several times. If I'm caught saying it any other way, I will be I'll be barred from commentary for the rest of my days. So apologies, but it will continue. We've got Domzetto. He's going to continue his charge to hang on to a podium position that he earned in, certainly earned it in quali. We saw it's been a tricky one. Sorry, looked like he was just slightly losing the back of the car there, I tell you. He's got a good drop on Etard. The Porsche really good in the twisty stuff. And the 16 teams and 16 manufacturers, it really is fascinating, Matt, to see the way the different cars play out. We've seen it with the Honda and the Ferrari. We're now seeing the Porsche, not known for its top end speed. So Domzetto really wringing the absolute neck out of that thing to keep it up on the second spot of the podium and fend off that GT-R that's trying to close in on him.
Yeah, actually the lap earlier, I was just going to say, Shane Attard has done a good job to get the jump on Michael Brill through that sort of pit stop phase and get up into second place, but then made a little mistake through turn 12 and 13, and that allowed Michael Brill to get the move done in the Porsche. And you can see now Shane Attard is not done with this fight, trying to close back in, as I believe they are going to have to be lapped again by the GT3. Here we go, try and get that done nicely down the straight, and good timing. No one's going to lose time as a result. The blue flag's flying to braking zone, although it has meant that the Porsche was a little bit compromised into there, and these two are going to be right next to each other. This is the scary sector, and they've got the Ferrari behind them as well. So the timing there, the Ferrari's surely going to have to just tuck in and wait for these next two corners as they try and avoid that wall on the inside on the left there. You want to get close to it, but not touch it. And they do get through there cleanly, and I think Shane Attard is maybe leaving a little bit more margin this time after having that mistake last lap.
Indeed, yeah, just making absolutely sure, but very, very, very close indeed. We've said it before, we will say it again before the end of the series. You've got to love multi-class racing. Oh, and there goes Matt. It's a Lamborghini sailing round the outside. The extra grip, power and acceleration all on display. There is Fly in the Lexus doing a phenomenal job once again. Been into the pits, gone for soft, still got half a tank of fuel. So might even just pop into the pits here, whack on a set of tyres and not take fuel, which is definitely another strategy that the drivers could go for. Try and shave off those little bits of time here and there while gaining as much as possible out on track again. And also that does help to keep the weight of the car, the average weight of the car down over the race. So theoretically it should be quicker. Theoretically, Matt, easier said than done.
Yep. And this is some of these drivers trying to recover from that early crash. So this is why he's on those soft tyres. Lots of fuel, but the soft tyres are really worn out.
Yeah, and of course, sorry, let me just... Bryce Kentwell it is that's on screen. I've got so many lists and names and gamer tags, but Bryce Kentwell doing an absolutely incredible job. For anyone that doesn't know, he's got motor neuron disease. He absolutely loves sim racing and completely embodies the spirit of the sport. And he's got not bad taste in cars as well, let's face it, we'll love a Lexus. The livery looking phenomenal, so yeah, big shout out to Bryce Kentwell. Races week after week for the Rusty Nuts Racing team. An incredible little team and an incredible effort as well to get these races done. And it truly is a testament to the spirit of sim racing and to Bryce's own fighting spirit as well. Not going to let anything slow him down at all, even if it is the front end of a heavy Lexus, Matt. But yeah, incredible job for Bryce to be taking part week in, week out.
You love to see it, and he has just gotten past boosted Blake as well. So Blake Williamson in the pits, one of the other drivers who took the hit in the early lap, and I believe went onto the hard tyres. So at pit stop, they might have ditched that strategy. The hard tyres maybe not working as well as they hoped. Here we go, get a look at it. They're back on the softs now and should be setting some quick lap times. And it's definitely a more fun way to do it as they get very close between the two different car classes there. The multi-class racing, you've got to be on your toes with the speed difference between the two categories.
Yeah, you absolutely do. The GT3s have definitely got a lot more grip, but still can go sideways very quickly, and do me sideways. He's got just under 3/4 of a tank of fuel left. Matt Dernetti is now hunting down Lewis, who we know has to come into the pits once again. Once he comes in, you would think Dernetti is going to retake the lead behind you. We'll go back up to second. They are running long. They've got Water Arrow not too far behind at all. He is absolutely keeping pace. He's out on the soft tyre, so he's on the quicker tyre. And Matt was mentioning earlier that Dernetti is certainly thriving on the mediums a lot better than the Hinja hit, and that might come back to bite him a bit more as Water Arrow is absolutely piling on the pressure on the softs.
Here it comes.
They look to be in good condition, Matt, for 12 laps left. He really is going to be a threat to second place for Gopi Mahinja. We thought he was running away with the championship. Round 3, the rest of the field have said, no thank you, big fella. We're all getting involved in this championship battle.
Absolutely right. We saw that difference at the start, really, where he got overtaken. It looked like he was going to come back through the pack, but the other drivers put up a fight and really taken the fight to Gopi Mahinja in this race. And here comes Water Arrow, the next one who wants to get involved in the fight. Like you say, he has the tyre advantage, wants to make the most of that early on while they're still fresh, because later in this stint, if he does go to the end, and we suspect that is the plan, they will be feeling a little bit second-hand, but at the moment looking faster than the cars in front. Water Arrow in the Lamborghini. Love to see it, one of my favorite cars. Closing in on the back of the Ferrari. What a race we've got. Ferrari and Lamborghini about to go head-to-head. And we have seen a few little mistakes in the battles from Gope, or at least getting tangled up in the battles. So Water Arrow can take the fight to them. Could have a chance to get through as again they're pushing the limits of this track out in the grass a little bit. Through the final corner, try and line up a run. He's deep though. Well deep. Talk about pushing them into the grass on the track limits. And that is going to compromise the exit. He was lining up a move, now he's going to try and earn that time back.
Indeed he does, yeah. Riley Easter there really was pushing the outside limits, and he really doesn't need to do that at the minute. He's got the prime tyre over the car ahead, just needs to keep it between the Mayo and the Mustard, and he really does have the advantage over Mahinja as far as I'm going to say got the advantage as the race strategy goes. At the minute he's out on the quicker tyre. Really does need to make the most of it. Mahinja, I'm sure he's likely to find his groove with at least, you would think, a few laps left to go. It's been an up and downward from the series champion and perennial pole sitter in qualifying all season. He's taken all 3 poles. He's won the first 2 races. He is absolutely moving. Team Ferrari are winning the championship as well. That's how dominant he's been over the rest of the field. Now mixed up, the rest of the field has been as well. No mix-up at the moment though for Matt Dernetti in the Honda. Didn't feature in the top 3 in qualifying in round number 1, and we did wonder what is going on there. Well, he's looking to put that right. Not only taking second in qualifying this week, he's now running second in the race, which is effectively net lead, because Lewis definitely has a pit stop to take. We've got 11 laps to go. The medium tyre Dernetti has got just over half a tank of fuel. We could jump on board with Lewis, in fact, and we'll check on his tyre and fuel wear and see if we can guesstimate pretty soon. Matt, I was not even going to get the sentence finished there. We'll see how soon it is before he comes in. He's got 1 lap left. Lewis is going to come in, which will give him 9 laps on the softs. Now that could be a serious problem for Mahinja if he wants to hold on to second place.
Yeah, and looking at the times, the drivers behind him were in the 142s on those mediums. Lewis running in the 141, so almost a second a lap he's able to pull out from the rest of the field. And if he's going to go back onto the softs again, so you suspect he's going to be a second a lap faster once again for those final 10 laps. Is that going to be enough that Lewis can try and get the overtakes, get past, back into the lead of the race? I wasn't sure this was going to be the right strategy, but Lewis is looking like this could work out wonderful for him.
Yeah, and it'll certainly work out wonderful for us as well as the viewers, because that really is, as I say, it's going to bring the championship battle right to Gr.3 as well. So Lewis coming in, he's got another GT4, just popping out of the way. That's a big wiggle there. I think he got more than just a bit of a fright as Lewis came past. They have all survived. Fly and Boosted Blake running down at the back of the field. There's Blue Dog there at 14th position overall. So was that 5th in the GT4s? It's amazing how quickly your brain goes to mush at this time of the day. Marley McFarty in 12th place, so he is just outside the podium battle. Dubzetto, in fact, interesting. Sorry, let's have a look at Dubzetto. Soft tyres with damage. Right, okay, so something's going on there. He's down in 3rd place. Let's have a look at Grimbat and see. Oh, Grimbat's GT3, of course he is. Ah, of course, yes, of course. Grimbat took the early pit stop, so that's him taking his 2nd stop. He's come back out in the GT4s again. So he's still on a recovery drive. But Dubzetto has the GT3 car separating him from a Tard. And the race leader in the GT4, so that's from 2nd place now, and he doesn't have another pit stop. So it really does make you think that he's gone for the one-stop strategy. He's picked up damage, and that has cost him, or at the moment, it's cost him 2nd place. We've still got 11 laps to go, of course, but Michael Brill not working out in his favour again this week.
Yeah, Michael Brill damaged just to the front of the car there, which is interesting. So I wonder if he's come together with another car as opposed to a wall. Because he was in that battle with Shane Attard, this Nissan here that we're seeing on the screen. They were close. I wonder if something's happened. I'm sure we'll hear about what that was after the race. As it's the 2 different car classes once again getting close. You have to sort of keep your awareness up, boys. Keep your awareness up, because there's another car there, but they managed to figure it out and get through turn 1. So yeah, a bit of a story there for Michael Brill, who had been running so nicely in that Porsche for MotorMotion for most of this race. And we see it again at bottom left, that little bit of red flashing on the front there. Just a little bit of damage. I don't think it's going to be costing them too much time, but whether they had a spin or something at the time to cause that, because they've lost out. They're now a long way back from Shane Attard, who they were fighting.
Yeah, absolutely dropped down the order, and there it is then, Lewis coming in to the pits. Ooh, now that clock is red. I wonder if that's a glitch or if he has actually picked up a penalty. He's coming with a litre of fuel. He has lost the overall lead of the race, and I'll tell you what, Mahinja has found his pace. I did say surely he's going to find his rhythm on the medium tyres with at least 2 to 3, maybe 5 laps to go. 8 laps left, and the Ferrari is pushing once again. Water Arrow has got himself ahead of Lewis. We've already seen that battle in stint number 1. It did go the way of Lewis quite neatly, but Lewis is now on the much fresher tyres, and I do mean much fresher tyres.
And softer compound as well. Remember, he's on the racing softs, but he is a long way back. So he's given himself a lot of work to do in this final 8 laps. I'm not sure if he's going to have the pace. He's going to have to absolutely be pushing through this final stint. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on that gap coming down. But it's going to be tough. Or what will help them, though, is if the leaders get themselves in a battle, contact between Gr.3 and Matt. And they've already had some dramas in that first stint when they were close to each other. Now Gr.3 letting Matt know, bit of Morse code on the rear bumper. Hey, I'm here. I'm ready to go for a move as soon as I get the opportunity.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely going for it. No quarter given nor asked between the top 2 with 8 laps left to go on the medium tyres. I did say that Gr.3 could be looking over his shoulder for Lewis. Maybe not a big fan of that idea. So he's going to chase down Matt Dernetti for the win. We're absolutely here for it. They're on the mediums. They're still lapping in the low 1 minute 42. It is quite frankly a ridiculous pace that these drivers can make, but they do manage to maintain it lap after lap. Consistency of the gods as well, as we can see Gr.3 42.6, 42.4, 42.3, 42.4, 42.1, 42.0, 42.3, and a very slow 42.9. Wow, he slipped up a bit there. And then Mahinja again, 42.5, 41.8, 41.5, 41.9. So he did find these oh, and he's going to find the apex up the inside. There's almost a bit of contact. The Ferrari has a wiggle on the corner exit and drops back into the slipstreams. The Honda once again stretches those legs in a straight line and maintains the lead of the race, but it is a tenuous lead at best, as Mahinja, we can see. Talk about consistency and pace. He's into the 41s on a regular basis on the medium tyre.
Cracking pace. He's almost as fast as Lewis was on the soft, so that just shows how quick he's able to wrangle this Ferrari around the track, and he goes deep into this turn, sliding on the exit. Again, they're going to be side by side, and one thing I have to say, this racing has been so close. There's been a couple of bumps between them as well, but it has been respectful. There has been moments where they've bumped into each other and then backed off to make sure they don't pull off the overtake. They don't want to go for the bump and run. Both of these drivers want to win on pure talent, not on any sort of incident that's going to have to be reviewed at the end of the race. They want to win this on track nice and cleanly, and I love to see that respect between them. As again, down the straight, we're going to see the slipstream playing a role. Ferrari tucked in, not quite having the pace, but he's surely going to use this slipstream down into turn number 1. We've seen the move being done already in this race. Can he do it again? Look at that, using the GT4 car to their advantage, but not closing in. That Ferrari just not as quick on the straight line as the Honda, and this real battle of cars as he makes a mistake through turn 1. He's going to lose a lot of time riding that curve in all the wrong ways, and all that hard work with getting those 41 lap times is now opened right back up.
Yeah, that is another big mistake from our championship leader there, all over the curbs in turn number 2, and that has put Matt Gr.3 in a much more convincing position based on the last few laps. Water Arrow is still holding on to third place for CP Motorsport with Lewis out of the pits, not carrying any damage. He is running, as I say, on those fresher soft tyres, so a very good position he's got himself in to chase down Water Arrow. Right Easter, of course, for that second place in the race. Robinson running in 5th at the minute for the MotorMotion Porsches, so I had to take the time with that one. Colin in 6th place, and that's a lot of dust kicking up as he goes past the Mercedes GT4. Mr. Marty McFarty, of course. And yeah, nice and easy done for Colin. Griffo in 7th place, and Grimbach caught back up to his GT3 brethren. He is up to 8th place and back ahead of the GT4s after chancing it on some early pit stops. Not quite worked in his favour this time around, but there's not to say it won't work in the future. Sorry, say that to me again, race control, please. Okay, sorry, just being told as well that Grimbach is actually a lap down. Sorry, yeah, you can see on the right, which is on lap number 23, so he has been lapped. So he's caught back up to the GT3s, but he has been lapped. We've got Scozy though in the Hondas. The Hondas leading both classes at the minute. Is that going to be the case in 7 laps time? That's how long we've got left. And I tell you what, Dubzetto with the damage, Michael Brill. This driver is not to be written off in any way, shape or form under any circumstances, Matt. He's carrying damage and he is back up to 2nd place. That is a very, very, very good drive.
Absolutely right, and I think we're hearing that Attard has come into the pits, and that is what has allowed Michael Brill to get through. So different strategies still playing out in this race as we are on lap 23 of 30.
Indeed, yes. Oh, more pit stops. And he is, he's running on the softs now as the race leaders go sailing past. That's it, gone past once again. The Nissan GT-R still holding the position. Uncle Mark, what a drive he's having. He's snuck his way through the field. All about the pit stops. What I did say is they were the main talking point in the series so far, and they're going to prove to be so once again. There's Mark McFarty there in 13th place overall. He's got 5th position in the GT4s, just ahead of Boosted Blake, who's holding on. There is Fly coming in to the pits. So that's going to be another stop there. Bryce Kentwell, of course. And that'll be his final pit stop. He's carrying a little bit of damage as well, so you'll get that repaired and he'll be back fresh, factory fresh, to the end of the race. A quarter of a tank left, 4 laps left to go. The championship leader and all-time pole sitter so far in the series finds himself in 2nd place. He's caught up to Dernetti, couldn't make the overtake stick, and then almost binned it. He went full Tony Hawk on a couple of those curbs, and it was a real slide gone wrong, and it's cost him a few seconds and a few more laps to have a crack at the overall race lead. Water Arrow, interestingly, he's still in 3rd position with Lewis, still in 4th. As we can see, Water Arrow just catching up to 3rd in the GT4s. Constant interaction at some point on the track between the 3s and the 4s, and Lewis does look to be a fair bit down the road, so this strategy not quite working. It looks in the favour of Lewis at the moment. Yeah, he threw the dice. It doesn't look like it's coming up Yahtzee for him at the moment, Matt.
No, and I would say he'd almost be blaming Gopi's mistake a little bit for that, because if those 2 leaders had kept fighting, if that ended up in the battle that was brewing, it felt like it was going to go on, they could have slowed each other down, and that would have played into Lewis's hands. But the way that they've got clear air at the moment, they're able to maintain good lap times, and I think Lewis is just going to have too much work to do to catch up to the leaders. Water Arrow, this shot will tell us a bit of the story. There's Water Arrow up the road, so he can still charge down, try and get on the podium with 3-4 laps to go. It's still possible. He's going to have to keep pushing, especially with Water Arrow on those really worn soft tyres. He should have quite the pace advantage, but I don't think he's going to have enough to get to the lead.
Yeah, no, it really is going to be a bit of a tough slog for him if he's going to improve and get himself onto the podium. So a phenomenal strategy from Water Arrow at the minute. Let's see how much it pays off as we see more GT3, GT4 interaction. We're going to be seeing that right to the end. Now there is Gr.4 as well. He's catching up to Colin, catching up to Gr.4. Could see a position change there. Nice onboard shots. Do love the passenger seat cam you get. It looks very good indeed and sound pretty phenomenal as well as I head into turn at number 2. The downfall of Mahinja Hit and these drivers. A little bit of a wiggle from Gr.4 on the exit, but he has managed to keep it between the Mayo and the Mustard. Keep the car level, keep it going through to the end of sector number 1. They're going to be heavy on the brakes here. Almost a hairpin, and that's very good work on the brakes here by Colin. He is absolutely flying on these soft tyres at the minute. Only a couple of laps left to go. You would think he's going to be giving Gr.4 an absolute hard time of it, and then some. Slightly different lines. It does look like Colin is managing to find some cracks in Gr.4's armour here, Matt.
Absolutely right. Oh, and he's thinking about where he's going to make the move. Wants to go left, goes right in the end. This is going to be the outside for turn number 9 as they come into another big braking zone. A place you can get it done, and he has looked like he's been better on the brakes, but round the outside is just going to be too tough to pull off with a few laps left to go. Definitely looks like Colin has the more pace. Just the racecraft now holding him at bay. Tony Griffin doing what he needs to do to defend the position for the time being. And keep in mind as well, these positions 5th and 6th doesn't sound like much, but in terms of the championship, it is a team's championship as much as an individual driver's championship. So each team has one driver in the GT3s, one driver in the GT4s. So these guys are not only out there fighting for themselves, they'll have their teammates cheering them on as well, and they'll be encouraging them to do everything they can to gain every position, because every position means more points overall. There's different strengths playing out there. Look, we saw that gap just open up a little bit out of that last corner.
Indeed, yeah, the car's absolutely highlighting perfectly the differences. Yeah, the gap just opens right back up again. along that quick straight. Colin got no answer for Gr.4's straight line pace. Yeah, they've only got 2 laps left to go, so he is going to need to be clever on the brakes if he's going to get this one done. No need to be clever on the brakes for the Honda driver up at the front of the GT4. Scusi's got the Scusi, yeah, very Italian sounding name, so it does seem fitting. We'll find him at the top of the GT4 pile here in this beautiful Italian island. It's starting to see the cloud, I believe, actually start to clear a bit, so we've got a bit of the sun popping his hat on. Jürgen Racing leading both classes at the minute. Xander Stewart for 1, Matt Dernetti for the second. And Dubzetto for MotorMotion, again carrying that damage, which he has been for a significant amount of time, it is absolutely safe to say. But doing a brilliant job once again is Michael Brill. That one's not going away anytime soon. Shawnee Tard as well in the Nissan Henia finds himself comfortably in third, well ahead of Uncle Martin McFarty in 5th position still in that mighty sounding Mercedes, and of course Boosted Blake not far behind him in the Mustang. And there is Fly, final pit stop taken. Running to the end, and I tell you what, these drivers really have cut it close here, Matt. Looking at the amount of fuel that Dernetti has got on board, he really has calculated this down to very fine margins, as Gopi Mahenjit makes another mistake, Matt. This is absolutely unprecedented territory. You wouldn't ever dream that you'd see him make one. We've seen several this evening, and the championship leader has been really found out here at Sardegna.
Yeah, well, it's like we're seeing a bit of an off day here from Gopi Mahenjit. First 2 rounds, really dominant, clean driving, almost perfect, and we thought that might be the trend that continues, but there is a little chink in the armour. It has not been repeated here at Sardegna, and we're on to the last lap now. Gopi, in fact, has got damage, so it's been dropping off now in the 143s in terms of lap time, dropping off to Matt, who is still out in front in those 42, looking consistent on the mediums and should have just enough, only just enough fuel to make it to the end. These drivers timing it perfectly, of course. You don't want to add any more fuel than necessary. They keep the pit stop as short as possible. But what a drive it has been from Matt Dernetti today. He's shown he has the pace, he's shown he has the racecraft as well to be fighting out the front. It was a bit of a mistake in the first round where he was on the hard tyres, and that did not work out in his favour. He fixed that up for round number 2, got himself up onto the podium in the 2nd place, and today in round 3 it's looking like he's going to go one better with the race win, as I am wincing a little bit though looking at those fuel numbers down at the bottom left. Only half a lap left to go, it should be okay, but jeez, like you say, they have got it close.
May have to go full Nigel Mansell and try to push his car across the line. Definitely won't be passing out from heat exhaustion in this weather like Mansell did, but yeah, the drivers really will do anything to win. Look how close that is. He is surely running on fumes. Has Dernetti got enough? He has. He's going to come round the final corner onto the straight. He is going to roll across the line with 1 litre, maybe 1 litre of fuel in the tank. What a drive by Dernetti. The championship coming to life once again. Round number 3 sees a different winner for the first time in the GT3 class, and no surprise, is Magic Matt Dernetti. Phenomenal drive by Mahenjit though. To make that many mistakes and still finish in 2nd place, it certainly stands testament to just how quick Gopi is in that Ferrari. Not to be tonight. And Lewis at the end did get the move done on Water Arrow. Lewis, good sir, I apologise for the doubt I may have had, but yeah, the strategy working absolutely on point. Another driver with 0 fuel across the line does finish ahead of Water Arrow. What a well-deserving podium that is. Water Arrow, look how close he was to Lewis Robinson in 5th place in the push with Colin. Did manage to fend off the advances of Gr.4, so these two continue their battle all the way to the end of the race, but it is upper hand to Colin, and we will see the Hondas. What a result for Xander Stewart, for Matt Dernetti, and for Team Honda. Only 1 point separated the teams, the top 2 teams in the championship going into tonight's races. and this certainly makes it a bit more interesting. As it is, yeah, as I say, going to be 2 class wins for the mighty Honda. That mighty straight line speed of the Honda, Matt, paying absolute dividends for the team tonight. And Stewart and Dernetti will be sipping champagne this evening, one feels.
Absolutely right. Yugen Global Racing on top in both categories. Congratulations to Matt Dernetti, and here it is. Xander Stewart crossing the line, making it official, out in front of the GT4s.
Yeah, what a race that was. Absolutely incredible action, and what an outcome that was. Gope Mahinja finally unseated in a race. He took pole position and came home in second. Yugen Global, though, what a night it's been for them, and what a night for Matt Dernetti. Slow start to the season. He is picking up the pace now, and the consistency and the strategy. Yeah, absolutely love to see it. Lewis Atkinson rounding out the podium for Hooncourt. Another strong showing from them. And Riley Nicholson so close to that podium at the end, finishing in 4th. Richard Robinson finishing in 5th. Mitchell Collin for Collin Racing in 6th. Tony Griffin in 7th. And Nicholas Williams for Sparrow picking up 2 points in 8th place. In the GT4 cars, Xander Stewart, as mentioned once or twice, Yugen Global with the maximum point allocation from race number 1. Michael Brill for MotorMotion in 2nd place. Shane Attard in 3rd, of course. Mark Scarborough in 4th place, just ahead of Dylan Scarborough. Blake Williamson in 6th. Graham Splint in 7th. And the Rusty Nuts Racing GT4 of Bryce, Kentwell, finishing in 8th position. What a treat that was. You're, of course, here for Split 2 very shortly, Matt, but Split 1 absolutely setting the bar high for what we can expect from Sardegna.
Oh, too right. That was brilliant, wasn't it? The race for the lead of the GT4s, that's the closest racing we've seen for the race win there. It was cracking. And yeah, in the GT3s, I mean, it was all go, wasn't it? There was drama in the fence. There was plenty of plenty of top tier overtakes, and that was only race 1. We do have another second race coming up shortly too.
Indeed we do, and of course we will have to decide our driver of the day. And for me, I think I'm going to slightly break with tradition here. I'm going to break cover completely and say I think driver of the day goes to Team Yugen. Quite frankly, I just... Yeah, given the drive from both of them, I think in those classes, rather than doing one at a time, we might just announce, team of the day. Yugen Racing so far, Matt Dernetti and Xander Stewart. What a drive by both of them. And Dernetti, of course, fending off our championship leader to bring home the win, and his teammate cruising to victory as well. It's a phenomenal drive, and for me, I'm going to say both of those would be my driver of the day, Matt.
Yep, I think that's fair. They drove incredibly well. I'd also say a shout out though to Riley in the Lamborghini. He ended up in 4th, losing out to Lewis at the end there, but it was a great drive to get himself in that position, and he ran those soft tires for so long in the end, and sort of made it work for him as well.
Yeah, he really did. He really did. So yeah, big shout out in the, especially in the Lambo. That's no mean feat over 30 laps around here. That is for sure. But that is all for all the time certainly from myself. Matt will be back with the one and only wonder from down under, our fearless leader here at TrackSpotTV. Of course, it is Mr. George Cooke. So we'll be enjoying his dulcet tones very shortly once again. As I say, that'll be for Split 2. But thank you very much to the drivers. First of all, what a show tonight. Thank you to everyone that has been watching. And of course, big thanks to Mr. Matt Smith. Matt, a pleasure once again.
Thank you, John. No, the pleasure is all mine, and I'll add a shout out to the organisers of the series as well. What a great format we have here in this multi-class racing.
Indeed, yeah. So we will hand back over very quickly to George, who will take us into a break. And then they will be back, and I will see you all same time, same place next week. And of course, make sure you get signed up to the website as well, www.motormotionseries.wordpress.com. I'll see you all again soon.
Hello and welcome back to MotorMotion E-Series. What a split run race that was. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And a big thanks to John Wright for jumping into the commentary box there. Returning as the co-commentator alongside myself, George Cooke, it is Matthew Smith. Matt, that split one was something else.
Wasn't it just? I'm still recovering a little bit from that. There was a lot going on, a lot to try and unpack. I think I'm going to have to go back and re-watch that battle as well. Hopefully a sign of things to come, that battle between Matt Donetti and Gr.3 and Gr.4. If they can carry that on for the season, then we're in for a thrilling ride.
Absolutely right. And of course, now we redirect our attention to Split 2 coverage. So we'll be the commentators taking you through this next bit of action here on the MotorMotion E-Series YouTube channel and the TrackSpotTV YouTube channel. Of course, as John mentioned before, go and check out the website www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com for the upcoming series, TCR Cup, and the Gr.3 Championship set to kick off in the latter half of 2025. Meanwhile, we're actually at the half-point distance of this 6-round series. We are 3 rounds in with 1 split done and 1 split to go in the 3rd round. So we're basically at the halfway point now, and the points are certainly going to be a key thing going forward. And you mentioned it earlier, Matt, absolutely key, regardless of where they finish, whether it's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, those points for the team's title, so crucial at a race like this.
Absolutely right. And the way the format's set up, every position gets points. So every position gained is more points for the championship. So even when you're fighting 4th, 5th, and 6th, like you were mentioning there, it's worth just going for that 1 extra spot, pushing as much as you can that last few laps to try and get the overtake. And Lewis did a good job in that first race to get that 3rd position, even when it looked like he was a little bit out with the strategy, out of kilter, didn't quite get that one right, to still get back up into the podium. Crucial for Hoon Corp in terms of the longer term, thinking about the championship and also thinking about the team's championship as well.
Yeah, that's right. And it was an interesting strategy that we saw there from him. I really didn't think it was going to work out, but it did to a degree. I mean, he was up there fighting, of course, for the podium, but Gopi and Matt Donetti were just running away with things. So, of course, another 30-lap race coming up for your viewing pleasure in Split 2. Time of day, same time of day, it's afternoon. Round 3, of course, at Sardegna, Road Track A in the Italian island. It's a 5.1 kilometer circuit, so 3.1 miles, 15 corners, and we've seen how tricky it can be with the close quarters natures of the barriers, and we saw a lot of drivers coming afoul of that throughout this race. I think we'll probably see the similar thing in Split 2. Quick note, of course, as Matt mentioned and John mentioned in Split 1, there has been a shake-up of the splits, so a few drivers being shifted in and out. So Mark Hasseldean will now be joined by Nick Faff and Andrew Scott in the Group 3s. And we have a couple of shifts around, of course, in the Group 4s as well, with the likes of Luke Stone, Matt McCullum joining alongside Glenn Mead and Dave Crook. So it's going to be a real battle in both the Group 3 and Group 4 for Split 2. Let's take a little look now at the qualifying results for Split 2. And it is Captain Snooze on top. So actually was not expecting this at all, but Black Rose Racing have put themselves on the top spot with a 1:41.3. Very competitive time there from Nathan Wakefield. First time he's on the podium in this series. Then it's Nick Faff for Asta Racing in P2. Only about a tenth, an eye blink, literally, between him and Nathan Wakefield. So Asta Racing in a good position. And then it's Mark Hasseldean, who has been performing incredibly well, but slightly off the pace here in 3rd place, about 8/10 or 7/10 or so down from those top 2 spots. So just missing out on that top grid. Then over in the Split 4 categories, sorry, the Group 4 categories, it is Matt McCullum showing he's still got the speed, 0.6 of a second ahead of Troy Britnell for Lightning Motorsport in P2. And then Steve Smith rounds out our top 3 there. So this is very, very close for 2nd and 3rd in the Group 4, and very, very close for the first 2 in Group 3.
Oh yeah, this is a great grid. The reorganizing of the 2 different splits here is really going to create closer racing, I think, here in Split 2. Mark Hasseldean has had it all his way in the first 2 rounds, now finds himself just in 3rd in qualifying. So is that maybe a mistake in qualifying? Can he push on to catch back up? We're about to find out. And then in the GT4s as well, Steve Smith last week ended up finishing 8th out of the GT4s and now put himself in 3rd in the box seat to fight for those podiums. So that could be a great recovery, and I wonder if that's a bit of the Jaguar maybe liking this track a little bit more.
Certainly could be. I mean, part of the reason the calendar's set up the way it is to try and bring out the advantages and disadvantages of each of the different manufacturers. And this is the wonderful thing. We have 16 different teams. So that's 16 manufacturers, 2 cars each. And so we get to see such a different, vibrant range of where these cars come alive. I mean, we saw with the Honda and Matt Donetti, it wasn't alive at all at Trial Mountain. It didn't do what it needed to do. And now here at Sardegna, suddenly it comes alive. And that Ferrari not looking as all-round as it maybe was in the early rounds as well. So it's fantastic to see the difference between these cars come to light.
Absolutely right. That's something we talked about a lot in the first race of the night here in Split 1, and I'm sure we're going to see it here again in Split 2.
Certainly are. We are ready to go on track and get our race started. So we'll see you out there on the track. Right, and we line up on the grid. Round 3, of course, and it's time for Split 2 coverage, and Captain Nathan Wakefield is on pole, and he gets a good start as the lights go out, and that is a good start, unlike Gr.3 and Gr.4, who had an awful start at the beginning of Split 1 race. Captain Wakefield is away very, very nicely, and he'll have a clean run into turn 2. Behind him, Nick Pfaff has got a good start. Hasseltine holding on to 3rd place, followed by Airborne at the moment. So sitting in 4th place, and he's got the opportunity to do an early challenge in that Mazda. Has been having trouble wrangling that car around the tarmac for a number of rounds now, but 4th place qualifying has been very, very good. Sets himself up nicely for this race. Rusty in the Lexus in P5, following on, and behind him Madrick and Chase, and then it's Luke Stone leading our Group 4 category right now. You can see that little gap already starting to evolve. Looks like we are missing one person on the grid, Andrew Scott. Not able to make it for me, Cougar. So sad to not see him up in the mix, because he's going to be right up there with a 4-way battle. Hasseltine, Pfaff, Snooze, and Andrew Scott predicted to be the early leaders in this new split arrangement. But Luke Stone is going to have an interesting battle down there as well. Got a few cars following on him. Very, very tight gaps between the Group 4 category cars at the moment. Rusty just trying to make some maneuvers here, but he's got Madrick in that Ford, which has been a dominant car. We've seen Madrick do some fantastic work in the Ford, and he's already putting a lot of early pressure on that Lexus.
Absolutely right. Reasonably clean to this point, but through 12 and 13, here they go again for the first time. Oh, sorry, here they go for the first time. And a little bit wide there from, was that Rusty going deep in the Lexus, loses the position as a result. Deep into the braking zone, they get close again. I was sort of tense up as I watched them get close on the brakes there, but through the corner, it is going to be Madrick in the Ford who gets that position up into 5th position, and everyone, I think, at least in the GT3s, made it through lap 1.
Certainly did. Let's look at the Group 4 cars. Luke Stone still leading us away at this point. Troy Britnell got a good start, and then actually Bluey, a very, very good start for the Black Rose Racing driver, and he's up to 3rd place ahead of Matt McCullum. Gridline Racing Scotty in that Ferrari. Teammate is Gopi Mahindajit, put on a wonderful show for us in Split 1 and the early couple of rounds at Trial Mountain and Deep Forest. Now, Gridline Racing Scotty, he is the team owner, and he wants to show that he's not just a one-man operation with Gopi Mahindajit in Split 1. He is definitely going to be wanting to get some good points out of this one to elevate his team up, especially after Eugen have taken a Group 3 and Group 4 win. That's a little bit of a move there for Matt McCullum as Bluey goes wide into turn number 3, I believe it was. A little bit of a moment there for the man in Black Rose Racing car, and Matt McCullum has actually compromised himself through this part of the sector as we head through the first sector. Purple sector for that one for him. But yeah, these guys are going to be going ham-tong, and Luke Stone dominant already.
Yep, they're all sort of light astern except for Luke Stone. Look at that lead out in the Hooncorp car, out in front, and then he's got the Mazda in behind with the Jaguar following. So Jaguar, both in this lobby, both looking strong in the 2 car categories, up in the top 3. Putting a lot of pressure on. This is a real battle pack forming here in the Group 4 cars for 2nd place. And it's great to see. We're seeing now the teammates of the drivers we watched in race number 1. We've got the Lamborghini out there, the Ferrari chasing him down as well. And it's really cool, the matching liveries between the teammates. It almost looks like we're seeing the same cars, but they are in fact Group 4s in these ones. As the move is being done, here it goes. Oh, and he's going to be pushing him wide out into the grass. Tough place to try and rejoin. He has to do it quickly before that wall. He's going to lose a few spots now. The Mazda dropping down, slots in behind the Ferrari. Can the BMW get the move done as well? It's going to be close, and that is a costly one to run out on the exit there.
Certainly is. P1 Skippy definitely wants to take advantage of that. His teammate, Mark Hasseltine, in the BMWs. They will want a good result out of this one. Hasselden, of course, been dominant in round 1 and round 2, really elevated the team up. And that's a little look for Troy Brentnell down the inside of turn 2. Doesn't manage to get it done, unfortunately for him. So Skippy will secure that position and start his charge after the third place man of GLR Scotty. So right now, so fourth place man, I should say, because Matt McCullum is the one in third position. We are missing a GT3 car in this lobby. That's Andrew Scott. So we do have to do our math slightly differently than we did in the previous round. But this is dominant early on from Luke Stone. Let's take another look back up the top of the field where Nathan Wakefield has lost a little bit of the lead, but I think that's more that Nick Pfaff has started to really push him along the road.
Yeah, these two pulling away just a little bit. The gap's starting to open up as they are pushing these tyres on the racing softs to lead the way. Both the two leaders, we might get a chance to look through these Group 3 cars and see what strategies everyone on. We expect that they're going to be running these softs for as long as they can in the first stint. That is what we saw in split 1, and I think we're seeing a repeat here. But how long they take them, that is the question. We saw a lot of difference in the first race, whether they go for a 2-stop, whether they go onto the mediums into the second stint, or try and save fuel here in stint 1. We'll keep an eye on how that plays out, as these Group 3s really have got sort of equal gaps now spreading between them.
Yeah, that's right. You couldn't do a better alignment on Photoshop with all these cars and the distance. It's a pixel perfect right now, except for maybe Chase, who's chasing the rear end of that Lexus. Rusty Nuts Racing, his teammate Bryce Kentwell, gave him a big shout out, and with motor neuron disease, and he's just so passionate. Both of these guys at Rusty Nuts Racing just love to go racing. They don't care about where they end up in terms of the results. They just want to have fun out on track, and they sure provide a lot of entertainment for us on screen, so we love them to absolute bits. And but yeah, no, it is going to be the big question. How long will they go? Are they going to try and take these softs, to 10 laps, to 12 laps? Are we going to see a couple of people jump onto those 2-stop strategies? I think we might see a couple more. Generally speaking, we would usually say that some of the drivers in Split 2 have been favoring the double stop strategies as opposed to what we've seen in Split 1. But now with the reshuffle, we could be seeing only a couple go for that double stop. Luke Stone probably won't be one of those. The Group 4 strategies were slightly different. We saw a big mix of double stops and a single stop as well. Some jumping onto the mediums. I think our race winner in Group 4 Split 1, Xander Stewart, was on that one-stop strategy, and he certainly made that work for him.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I think particularly in Split 1 we saw the crashes sort of forced the stopping strategy into a 2-stop. There's, I was just going to say they've made it cleanly through the first few laps in this split, but that is big contact between these two drivers, and I think we're seeing the redress there from the Lamborghini, who was in the door of that Jaguar speeding through, and does pull over to the side to redress the position, trying to avoid getting themselves a penalty handed out. But that was brewing a little bit, wasn't it? We saw Matt McCullum was in close, wanting to get to that position. And again, we're seeing
it's all going sideways, unfortunately for Bluey. As we always say, so one overtake leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. Well, that's 2 positions already. The big winner is the Ferrari of Scotty, who's right up to the top now, second.
You're absolutely right. Scotty has just snuck through in all of that. And Steve Smith, we're talking about, he did such a good job in qualifying to get into third. Gained that position on the track in the opening couple of laps. And it's kind of come unstuck a little bit, but it seems like he has the pace. So can Bluey now try and recover straight onto the back of the BMW, straight onto the back of Skippy, and might be lining up a move already. The pace here from that Bluey is showing definitely deserves to be fighting at the pointy end. And he's trying to figure out where he might have an advantage over the BMW. We've been talking a lot about the different strengths of the car. Jaguar definitely looking comfortable at this track, but what is the particular corner? Can he get it done on the straight? Nice and tight through the corner. What a great line there on the inside, but not enough space to get the move done. Now we're going to see a good comparison of the straight line speed. Steve Smith here, look at him in the slipstream, trying to find, does he want to go left or right? He's going to go right, and that's going to be the outside line. But now a real engine power race down the straight. Oh, they're bumping to us down the straight. They want the track space. Not able to do it on the brakes, so that Jaguar, maybe a little bit of extra weight to it, had to get on the brakes a little bit earlier than the BMW.
It looks so difficult for these Group 4 cars to really send it up the inside without completely overshooting the corner. It's just the braking and the aero is just not there to slow the car down. So you've got to be so much more calculated in these Group 4 cars. The Group 3s, I mean, you can set it up the inside. It's got the aero, it's got the braking. You can slow it down absolutely crazily quickly. But these Group 4 cars, there's just an extra level of calculation.
I think you're onto something there, and it's interesting as well because we have the team dynamic in terms of they'll be practicing with their teammate, trying to work out strategies, trying to work out the track layouts and where they can gain time. But then there's so much difference between the cars, between that the two teammates are driving. They have to adapt to what the car that they've got underneath them. And like you say, the Group 4s maybe just requiring a little bit more finesse than these Group 3s, which you can throw around a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, this is not called the Manufacturer Masters for no reason, you know. You do have to master these cars, and understanding all other 15 cars and seeing what their disadvantages are and where you're going to be fast. That plays a massive factor in understanding how your driving style needs to adapt to each track and with the competitors that you're around, and it changes depending on where you're going to start as well. Let's look back up into the Group 3 category, go from last to first. This Chase in the Toyota, currently in 7th position, followed by Rusty in the number 269 Lexus. Then it's Maverick for the Ford, all slightly falling back off of Airborne at the moment, who's holding up the 4th position nicely, but you can see the gaps have really started to evolve. Haseldean doesn't have the pace to keep up with Faf and Nathan Wakefield at the moment. Of course, remember, Haseldean was our round 1 and round 2 winner in the Group 3 category for Split 2. So he has now been evened up with some other drivers, and I don't want to say he's been put in his place here, but he's certainly not looking as dominant as he had done in Split 2 in the previous round. Still got good pace, still holding off Airborne at the moment. That BMW is a contender to be one of the best cars at this circuit. Then, of course, going forward, it is the GTR, as John Wright likes to say. I was absolutely giggling all the way through every time he said that, so I think I'm just going to have to continue the trend. Nick Pfaff for Asta Racing, of course, he is a competitor. He's been pushing the likes of Gopi Mahinajit and Matt Donetti, and that yellow GTR, unmissable on track.
Absolutely right, and I'm having a look at the times as well as we were looking through there. The 141.4, it's really matching the pace that we did see in the first split. So a much more even distribution it feels like now, and they've done a good job of making sure everyone has someone to race against in this series. We're not seeing the runaway leaders that we saw in the first 2 rounds, so definitely makes our job more exciting as this gap for the lead is closing up. Nick Pfaff just kind of lurking there in the GDR, just waiting for an opportunity behind that Jaguar, and maybe this is more of a patience kind of race than we saw earlier on. Maybe these drivers are just thinking about biding their time and waiting for the opportunity as it comes later in the race.
Yeah, no patience at all in Split 1, where it was all go from the start. Gopi and Matt Donetti. What a show they put on. Absolutely fantastic. Not to take anything away from Split 2. We're very early part of the race here. Only 7 laps in really at the moment. So Nick Pfaff's got plenty of time. And I think one of the interesting parts of this first stint that they often do is that they need to look after these tyres. They really, really need to look after these tyres and make sure that the tyre life is still there as they reach the end of the fuel tank. So they don't do that, and they really have wasted the tyre, or they've overused the tyre. Fuel is the big send here, but at the end of the day, a lot of them are just going to be going full hand. There's no need to be short shifting on the car unless you've got a different power band. You know, if your power band's at about 80% RPM, yeah, shift to that RPM, and it will save you a little bit of fuel, but you're not going to be gaining any power from using any more.
Yeah, I think they might be thinking about saving a little bit of fuel here in this race. They'll try and extend this first stint as long as they can on the soft tyres, because we saw with Lewis, the 2-stop was not perhaps the fastest way to get around this race. So if they can try and extend this stint a couple of extra laps, maybe they could go on the softs for the second stint rather than the mediums, and we'll see how that strategy plays out. We're sort of a few laps away from seeing where the strategy tends to go. They're all out there on the softs at the moment, so it all just is straight pace unless they are backing off to save fuel, and a straight pace fight might be about to emerge here as we have Madrick.
We do indeed, yeah. Madrick in the Ford, of course. Vectra on the side of that. I mean, I love the colours on this one. You never see a Ford with white and orange. Yeah, I've never seen that before, and I don't think we'll ever see it again. Ford, of course, typically either in some sort of supercar colours, you know, yellow, red, blue, or or dark blue and light blues for the Ford standard color scheme. But this orange is absolutely fantastic. Almost a papaya, almost my favorite team's color. But a little bit ironic as well that my favorite team's in blue. It's also my favorite color. So well done to Colin Racing Team. Yet again, we won't see them in this split because they were both racing in split 1. Colin and Blake Williamson, Group 3 and Group 4 respectively. This Ford, though, looking great out on track. And so far, the weather hasn't been too bad at Sardegna, which is great. No rain expected for this session either. And we'll run into that early evening period starting in the afternoon. A little bit of cloud cover going to be coming across. And I don't think that had a major impact in split 1, Matt, the cloud cover. It did come in relatively early, about this time in the race. But I don't think it had a major impact on the tyres.
No, I don't think it will be affecting them too much. The one area that it might play a bit of a role is if you're picking your braking markers, and I've made this mistake, but I did a few laps here in testing. If you're picking your braking markers based on where the shadows are, then that's all going to change rapidly. So they definitely need to plan ahead. And often, like in practice, you end up just, setting the lobby to all the same settings. So there's no time progression or anything like that. You just want to go out there and do laps. And so you sort of subconsciously pick that point where you're going to end up on the brakes, and then you get into a race and the sun moves as the time progresses and the shadow moves, and you end up missing your braking point. Can go a little bit awry. So yeah, I think that's probably the main contributing factor. But all these drivers well skilled enough, and we're far enough into this race now that they've already worked that out.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, a number of times I've made that mistake. I used to make that mistake, and then I started driving what I like to call on instinct and just judging the braking zone basically randomly every single time, just get a feel for the timing. So I don't know if that's a good strategy or not. It's definitely a strategy. But yeah, I've had a lot of other drivers, a lot of people pick, the braking markers or something, and then someone goes and drives over it, takes out the braking marker, that's it. Matt McCullum with a maybe move up the inside, and that's a late braking maneuver from him. Will get himself deep into that final corner. So it's not the final corner, sorry, into that corner. And that, unfortunately, for Matt McCullum's not worked out perfectly. He's got the Ferrari right side by side, but it's a longer distance around the outside for Scotty. Will he still have an overlap? No, he won't. So Matt McCullum just squeezes on through, and he's kept it on track as well. Great sequence of events there from McCullum.
Crikey, because they kept it side by side so much longer than I thought was going to be on there. That is a tight section of track through 11, 12, 13. With the walls right next to you, just managed to slip into single file at the last possible moment. So well done to both of them to get through there unscathed. And Matt McCullum in the Lamborghini getting the move done on Scotty and the Ferrari there.
Fantastic stuff as the cloud cover now does start to come in full force. So those shadows, if you're using those shadows, they are now officially gone. If we see any mistakes out on track, we're going to attribute that. Someone using a braking marker that is a shadow, not a good thing to be relying on. You need to find some sort of other reference. It is one of those fallacies of race driving, though, especially in Sims. You just cannot rely on that. In real-world racing, no one would ever rely on that. Of course, you do have to be a more instinctual driver, see the likes of Perez and all that doing the blind laps around Mexico. That's the sort of instinct you need. You need to be able to feel, based on the timing, where the braking marker is going to be a little bit of an off-circuit excursion for two cars.
And again, we're seeing this Ferrari getting a little bit wide. So we saw it in race number 1, split 1, was of course the Group 3 Ferrari. But now, Scotty dipping tyres on the grass in very similar style. So whether that's because this car is being a bit of a handful at this track, or whether they've been practicing together and they've ended up taking similar lines, it's almost like we're watching the same driver, which is quite funny to see.
That's right, yeah. I don't know what it is about the Ferrari. I mean, it seems to be reasonably good on the brakes, got a good front end on it. Typical Ferrari build, I'm just talking generally here, not specifically Gran Turismo, but typically the Ferrari's got great front end grip, really able to turn the car in, but using a lot of the big engine acceleration and torque they've got in the car to rotate under acceleration. So get the car turned in towards the apex and then rotate out under acceleration. And it does look like the Ferrari's displaying a couple of those characteristics. See, nice tight apex there, gets on the power early, doesn't use any rotation there, so not over exerting the tires in any kind of way. Massively different grip model between Gran Turismo 7 and other games out there. I do love, of course, Gran Turismo 7's interpretation of that. No one really gets it right. No game really gets it absolutely perfect, as I'm sure some people who've done real-world racing do know, like maybe yourself, Matt.
Yeah, I think getting it perfect is a dream that you want to chase, but you're never quite going to get there. I did want to say, sorry to change the subject though, we have seen the first pit stops come in from the Group 3 cars, and Captain Snooze as well coming in on this lap. So last lap, Nick Pfaff was in the pits, and now whether he can go around there quickly and get a little bit of a one-lap undercut, perhaps, as we see more drivers. Hasseltine stays out, so that's quite early if they are thinking about the one-stop. I suspect they're going to be going on to the mediums if they want to do one-stop strategy here.
Let's keep an eye. So fuel going in the Jaguar, former race leader, Captain Snooze, is third place competitor Mark Hasseltine now provisionally leading the race, only got fuel for about one more lap, and he goes onto the softs again, but a full tank. So I think they're expecting the softs to actually last around a circuit like this. We've also got Airborne in the pits. Let's keep an eye on his tyre choice as he comes out, and it is going to be racing softs as well for him. So interesting to see what's going on here. We do have Nick Pfaff, who has gone to the pits, as you rightly pointed out, Matt. He's on the racing softs, but that is less than half a tank of fuel in, so that looks like a two-stopper.
This is interesting. We're almost seeing a repeat of some of the varied strategy calls that we saw in race 1. So it's like that was a preview. And heading into race 2, we've got it, the real thing once again. So yeah, those soft tires, it's a long way to try and run 18, 19 laps on a set of soft tires. We saw Riley in race 1 was able to do it. So it is possible, but certainly they were fading by the end of the race. And yeah, this two-stop here from Nick Pfaff. I'm not sure that that's going to be the way to go.
Yeah, at the very least, he needs to come into the pits sooner than we saw Lewis come into the pits. I mean, he left himself 8 laps at the end to really catch back up, and could have been closer to P2 potentially had he come in a little bit earlier. You've got to start to maximize that tire life. So Nick Pfaff has come in, what, a couple of laps ago, so lap 11, technically speaking. So he's going to try and put this race in terms of third. So probably come in at lap 20, give himself 9 laps essentially to catch back up, given the deficit that he'll be at this point. Captain Snooze is actually right behind them on track. So right now there really is no difference there, and there's a lot of work for Nick Pfaff to now do. And the big factor yet again has been the fuel tank.
Yeah, absolutely right. They've saved it. Well, a few of these drivers have saved it a couple of extra laps, which could prove a bit of a difference later on, as we see Hasseltine, Madrick, Chase all in the pits refueling, ready to come back out again, and we'll get a look at their strategy decisions again. Oh, here we go. There's the racing mediums. So we have got all the same strategies out there on track. Hasseltine on the mediums, looking to make a one-stop and go to the end. He's got quite a gap now to Captain Snooze, Nathan Wakefield, up ahead of him, but he'll be hoping that comes back his direction right at the end of the race. He's playing the long game, thinking about where he's going to end up on lap 30. He's not worried about lap 20. He's worried about where he's going to end up on lap 30.
Yeah, those racing mediums, of course, won't degrade, and we did see the drivers in Split 1 able to get into the 141s on those mediums, especially as they came into their own and sort of halfway through their usage in the second stint. So I think the mediums will be powerful. The softs will be fast initially, but they'll drop off relatively quickly, and then at lap 20 or so, you'll start to see those lap times really start to drop for Nathan Wakefield, who's gone for a bold strategy, soft to soft, full tank of fuel going into the second stint, and he was our provisional race leader at the beginning, qualified on pole position, so he's going to get a couple of extra points this round regardless of where he finishes. We saw that again with Gr.3 Mahindajit. He was actually on 17 points for the overall race, 18 for our race winner in Matt Denetti, because he didn't get pole. So it can be very, very close to the top. If you do qualify top and then finish second, basically getting the same points. At one point, just got to hope it doesn't make a difference at the end of the season. So Hasseltine being chased down by the racing softs of Airborne, but Airborne's going to have to look after these softs through the race. I think he just wants track position right now.
Yep, he's got to try and make the most of these soft tires early on. And it's interesting, we're seeing 3 different strategies out of the top 3 drivers. So how that plays out at the end of the race, we'll be paying close attention to. But at the moment, we might be paying close attention to Airborne, trying to catch up onto the back of Hasseltine into the BMW. And it looks like he's got the extra pace. He does have this tire advantage for the time being. That's always one of the GT4 gets out of the way, tucks into the inside. It was a bit of a tricky position to try and get that done, but they managed to get through there quickly.
Yeah, I don't want to say that that's maybe a little bit tactical, but the 2 Hassel 1 BMWs, one of them sitting on the apex, just as the Mazda comes on by, forces them to go wide. Hasn't made a real difference at all in this battle, though, as Airborne able to use that grip, go around the outside, avoid the Group 4 car sitting on the apex. No, definitely wasn't on purpose. Sometimes you just get caught out. Blue flags, so tricky in the multi-class situation. The other cars come in at such speed when you're in a Group 4 car. Sometimes you just get caught in a position This happened many times to me, especially at Bathurst. Go up the hill. Suddenly there's a faster car coming through, and you're just like, where do I pull off? I guess I'll just go to the gravel. Here we go, outside line for Airborne. Can he get that Mazda slowed down and stopped? He can. He's got a nose ahead through the apex and round the outside, and Verstappen style gets the move done.
Lovely. I love to see a move around the outside using that extra grip, and is now ahead. And now the mission is to pull away as far as possible before he loses these tires. It was kind of a balancing act though as well, where you don't want to overuse the tires early on and pay for it at the end of the race. And you've got to try and make the most of it without destroying them.
Yeah, that's right. It's a tricky balance, and this Mazda revs out. It's got so much RPM in it. You can hear it in the engine. Whoa! Massive moment on the final corner. It's only an ever so slight right-hander, but boy, oh boy, Campbell Knowles took a bite out of that inside apex and nearly sent his car spinning into the pit lane, which would have been convenient but a disaster for his overall race. Crikey, and he's just catching up to his team lead, Troy Britnell, Lightning Motorsport in the Mazdas. So a reverse situation now happening. The BMWs had it a moment ago for Hassel 1, and now let's see if Troy Britnell decides to pit it on an apex.
Oh, he's not making it easy for his teammate though, is he?
No, he hasn't.
Isn't quite aware of who that is tucked in behind him.
Oh,
he's taking the racing line, which is of course the rules in this series. The blue flags, you can just you're expected to just take the racing line and make the other car do the work to get around you, and that is what has happened there. Is now these two have nothing between them. Oh no, it's still not resolved. He still has to put the work in. Hasseldean eventually does get past the Gr.4 car, and that didn't look as easy as perhaps some of the other overtakes have been.
No, I think that was a little tit for tat there. We shall see. We don't want to inflame any kind of team rivalries here, but it definitely looked like there's a little bit of team tactics coming into play. Of course, this wasn't the way in the original split setup for round 1, round 2, where you had no guarantee of having a teammate in the same split. This has now changed to balance out the splits, make it a bit even, and Hasseldean has gone slightly off track. The medium tyres not providing the grip that he needs, and of course he's running in that dirty air as well, which doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. They're just probably seeing the car in front of him. He wants to try and chase and keep in the toe of Airborne, but that tyre difference means he's not able to reproduce what Airborne is able to do around here. As we now look through, there is Rusty in 5th position. They're actually not too far behind now, and they're going to catch up to the back of this lapped car, the Mazda, up ahead of them. Might be in an awkward spot as well as they head down into turn at number 1.
Oh, here we go. It'll be turn 2 most likely, so this will get very awkward for them. So it looks like Rusty is going to try and run to the end. He's doing the soft strategy as well. So yet another. Lexus, of course, will try and make it through to the end of the race on that fuel tank. Should be able to do so. Gets past the Gr.4 car nicely. Now it's Madrick's turn in the Ford. He's got plenty of fuel on board. So both of them actually on equal strategy. Both doing a single stop, but a double on racing softs. See how that works out for them. Both cars not necessarily the best at saving their tires, so it's going to come down to driver skill and just not pushing the car too much. Probably why we haven't seen too much action between these two. They're obviously quite even on pace at the moment, but not keen to make any kind of crazy moves. In behind them, Chase doing the same. So we're just at half race distance now. They've all got about 60 to 65 litres of fuel on board. And then back here, we do have a change of lead in the Gr.4 class, but it's only because Bruce has started on the mediums and hasn't pitted. He'll come to the pits literally right now. There he goes. Nick Pfaff tries to get a whiff of slipstream. It's a little sniff, but that's all. And Luke Stone will be the one that retains the lead, but in a big battle with Matt McCullum.
Wow, so that's interesting. That was the first driver we've seen start on the mediums and go for that sort of alternate strategy from the start. All the rest of the drivers starting on the softs, taking them as long as possible, and then mixing up the strategy later on. So Brucey, who didn't actually qualify on the podium, we've seen him out the front in the first 2 rounds, a little bit down the order here in race number 3, and deciding this is the opportunity to try something different to everyone else on those medium tyres. I wonder if he'll go back on the mediums and just do an even split. He's stopped at the halfway point, get back out there and get back on the mediums and carry on.
That's right. Well, Glenn Mead's been very dominant in the Group 4 category as we see the Mazda come on through. It's airborne, trying to make his way through, and Luke Stone's trying to avoid being compromised through here, and he does manage to do so very nicely. Great racecraft by all these guys, and their understanding of multi-class racing is just getting better and better every single race that we do. But yeah, no, Glenn Mead has been fantastic in the Split 2 Group 4 category. He's got some really good wins on his back. But with the shuffle of the drivers, he's now facing down two of the fastest, Luke Stone and Matt McCullum. And right now, that Audi doesn't look like it's particularly hooked up at Sardegna. It's another fictional circuit. A little bit of argy-bargy going on behind here as we see the Lexus and Ford in the Group 3 category come on through on the Jaguar and Scotty, who've also had a little bit of a change-up of position. Scotty losing out slightly to that. But the mediums at the start for Glenn Mead, so he's run long. He's jumped back onto a different tyre. We'll be going for the one stop, but just extended that first stint.
Yeah, absolutely right. He's opted to try and split this race evenly rather than coming in around lap 10 like we saw from the rest of the drivers. And it has put him down the order. Of course, he would have been a bit slower in that first stint with the medium tyres rather than the softs. So I wonder if he is going to, how far he's going to be able to push back forward through this race, as again we still see this racing carrying on. It was side by side in the background, little moments as they sort of touch the grass with the outside wheels, but regathered and keep fighting another day. As this is actually the race for the lead in the GT4 cars, isn't it? So we've got the Lamborghini closing in the back. That's Matt McClellan with Luke Stone in the Hume Corp Chevrolet out in front, and really there's nothing separating these drivers. It's just a straight fight.
Yeah, even the fuel and the tyres, same strategy, same tyres, same fuel for both the cars. So it's really going to come down to who drives this car well enough. The Chevrolet obviously got some really good legs on it. I had been told in the background the Lamborghini's not got as good a top speed. I think I was confusing it with the Lamborghini from another racing title, which does have incredible top speed. But out of the corners, these Lamborghinis do not have good drive off the corner.
That really makes it hard to get an overtake done, as you want to get out of those tight corners, get a good run down the straight. It's the easiest place to be making overtakes, but maybe Matt McCollum needs to think about something different. He's got these Group 3 cars closing in behind. Can he position himself nicely so as they come through, he can try and find some sort of advantage there? We see one goes through, another one comes through. I think they should be through by the time they get to the corner. No, look, it's going to compromise the Hooncourt car. Is he going to tuck to the inside, Matt? Oh, there's not enough space there for him, and the gap remains reasonably steady between them for the time being.
Oh, I love it. Great onboard shot there. Shows you what it's like being in a Group 4 car as you get overlapped by two Group 3 cars. Such a big speed difference. You just have to hold your line, hold your nerve. And oh, Luke Stone just running a little bit deep. He's starting to struggle a little bit, maybe slightly as a result of the wake of air that he's in from those Group 3 cars ahead, punching a huge hole in the air, so really providing a really nasty little low pressure zone to be driving in, but that'll evaporate rather quickly on track. In the background, Bluey, and looks like GLR Scotty still going for it, but that's Chase in the Group 3 car, the Toyota, coming on through, and oh, that's an awkward camera angle. There we go, we've got it. And oh, Chase has gone through. Blue flag has been executed very, very nicely, but that was a scary one, well and truly. But yeah, these cars coming on through, that's terrifying for the drivers, and you just have to have nerves of steel.
Yep, you do, and you can see that Steve Smith didn't want to lose any time. He wasn't just going to pull over and let the other car through and compromise his own line through the corner. These drivers, you know, they're in slower cars, but they're still fighting for their own race. Steve's now up into third position after that early drama, third in the Group 4 class, and still trying to recover in that Jaguar, dragging up the order as we look now to Brucey out there on racing softs this time around.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to figure out what's going on here. He's gone long on the mediums at the start, made it to half race distance. He looks like he has put 50 litres or thereabouts into the car, but the racing soft choice, so he will be fast in the second stint. Gridline Racing Scotty just up ahead on the road. Should see the Audi come on through. There it is. So not too far away. It's all going to come down to his lap times. But has he put enough fuel in the car to get to the end of the race? There's 12 laps to go after this one. I think he's probably okay, but it's going to be by the skin of his teeth and the smell of an oily rag by the look of it.
Yeah, absolutely right. We saw some of the drivers get down to 0 litres of fuel right at the end of the race. I think he's one of those drivers that's done the calculation, hopefully done the calculation right, and is just going to be running with really fine margins, and whether he has to save just a little bit of fuel in the later stages.
Yeah. Final positions of the Group 3 Battle at the moment is Troy Bricknell on 13th, followed by Mark Hogan for Me Cougar. In 14th place is teammate Andrew Scott, not able to make the race today, and then P1 Skippy, and as Trev likes to say, skipping along. Skippy the Kangaroo. I'm sure P1 Skippy hates that comparison, but yeah, you put Skippy in the name and you put Australians into the comms box, and that's what happens. Rounding out the grid in 15th position on the Racing Soft tyres and looking like he's good to the end, so he'll be in a battle with Hodges all the way to the end of this race. Now 12 laps to go as we head back to the lead of this race, and Faf is right on the edge of fuel, and he's going to have to execute this two-stop strategy to perfection. He is going to be a mile behind, though. Long pit stop, as you said, so you're losing a lot of time, and I think that probably is what it comes down to. We've had Trial Mountain, which is not a long pit stop. Deep Forest, not a long pit stop, but compared to those, Sardegna is definitely the longest we've had so far. And you wait a long time while your car trudges its way slowly down to your pit box. And I think that is probably why we're seeing a lot of people just go for this slightly more conservative one-stop strategy.
Yes, absolutely right. If you're going to lose 25 odd seconds in a pit stop, that's a lot of time to try and make back on a track. You know, if you are a second a lap faster, yeah, that's going to take 25 laps, and the stint on these tires is not that long. It's the two stop, maybe you get 20 laps on the second and third set of tires, so it's not quite enough to work it out. And I think maybe it's an indication that you do have to do the practice, not only get used to the car, but you do have to prepare for each individual track as well, as there are those differences in terms of the lap time, that, you know, and the track length. All these races are 30 laps long, but that can be a different length of race, and that's going to affect your tyre wear and your fuel consumption as well. All the races, of course, with 2 times tyre wear, 2 times fuel consumption, and we start the race on 50% fuel. So it sounds like all the settings are the same, but then when you go to a different track, it really is mixing up these strategies, and you have to come into it prepared and well practiced. And I think maybe it's just caught a couple of these drivers out.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've learned over the years of MotorMotion E-Series broadcasting is you really need to calculate, and also other broadcasting as well, but you really need to calculate that pit stop time. It makes a huge difference. Yes, fuel is cheap in this series, 10 litres a second, so refueling is not a problem, but the longer you sit in that pit lane, the longer it is in your overall race time. So if you're doing that twice, I mean, you might as well add 5 laps overall, or half a lap at the very least. You know, not 5 laps, but half a lap, certainly. And so you're adding extra time to your overall race. So can you be quick enough to offset that deficit? Those are the calculations you need to do. You need to run these practice races, see how far you can get, do one with a 2-stop, do one with a 1-stop, see what the delta is. You know, run it at 80% pace. You don't need to go flat out, but that's the kind of testing you need to be doing. And it helps to make that decision between the 1-stop and the 2-stop.
And it's that sort of level of testing that can be the difference of who is going to be the manufacturer master champion at the end. I think it is going to come down to fine margin we're seeing between these top teams. So all these decisions that they make, and it is still early doors, we're at round 3 of the championship, but they're going to look back at the end of the championship and think about, oh, maybe I needed to do an extra half an hour and work out how long that pit lane was. That could have been the difference of how close the championship is.
Yes, right. So as we head on to lap 22, Captain Wakefield is out to a fantastic lead. Unanimous lead at the moment. He is about 3 or 4 corners ahead, and that's saying something at a track that is over 5 kilometers long. Campbell Knowles has snuck his way up into P2. He's holding damage on the rear right tire, though, so that's not going to be disadvantaging him too much, but it's certainly not going to be helping him, that is for sure. Both of them going to the end on that fuel. Slight fuel advantage for Airborne at the moment. Then it's Hasseldine, who's moved up into 3rd place as a result of Nick Pfaff's pit stop, but he's on the medium tyre, fighting against Nick Pfaff's racing softs. And I do say Nick Pfaff has had a history when I've raced against him of going for these multi-stop strategies. He's usually, you know, got an incredible amount of pace, and he's super consistent as a driver. So when he's able to execute that pace and show that consistency, he's unstoppable on a 2-stop strategy, very much like what we've seen with Gopi Mahidajin. He's, you know, that level of driver. So this will be an easy overtake to regain 3rd place. The question is, Airborne is a fair way up the track, and this is looking like maybe a little bit too much of a distance here to actually sort this out by the end of the race. I don't know. It might be close enough, but damage for Airborne as well, it could come into play.
Yeah, certainly I think between these two it could end up being close. They're going to want to set tidy laps now through this phase of the race, particularly for Airborne, with that little bit of damage on the tyre. Might just catch him out through a few corners. You if he has some scruffy exits, that could be costly because, yeah, Nick Pfaff is going to be on a run onto the fresh softs. Not maybe closing it at the rapid rate of knots that I expected on Hassedy. He's still going to have to work for it here at this phase. And maybe he's just thinking about running these tyres in gradually, not overdoing it in the opening laps, so he still has something to fight with at the end as he is approaching airborne, potentially, with only a lap or two to go.
Yeah, it looks like he's about half a second a lap faster than airborne, about a second a lap faster than Hasseldean. So he will need to dial up this pace, currently sitting in the 42s, needs that to be consistent to the end of the race. By the way, we have had a change of lead in the Group 4 category. Matt McCullum has slipped on through and taken the lead away from Luke Stone, so Hooncore now down to P2 in this race. We'll take a quick look down there, and there he is. The Lamborghini has made that move at some point quite some time ago by the looks of it, and Luke Stone in the Chevrolet not able to keep the pace either, so that Lamborghini has run away with things, and CP Motorsports potentially on for a Group 4 win in Split 2 right now.
Doing a great job driving this thing. He did qualify on pole, so we knew he had the pace coming into it, but then found himself further down, and we're seeing again executing that pace, getting through. Nice comfortable lead, trying to hold on to those soft tyres as most of these Group 4s sort of have an easier job here with the one stop compared to the Group 3s, so hopefully they can cling on, but there is definitely a lot of tyre wear becoming a factor as we get to the later stages of this race, and they're going to have to adjust a little bit how they drive these cars, maybe braking a little bit earlier, a little bit more delicate through some of the corners, so that those tyres don't let go and lose grip, as it's easy to do. Coming down here in particular, turn 9, through this left-hand in the middle of the corner, there is a bit of a bump as well, so if you get on the gas too early, we've seen it a few times tonight, where drivers will kick the rear out just as they come over that bump. It's difficult just to get it exactly right. You don't want to, you have to be a little bit patient, but you want to get on the gas and try and get the exits, particularly you're in these close battles. Like, look at this between the Jaguar and the Ferrari. All those little details will make a difference in a fight that comes down to this close. After 22 laps, there's still nothing between them.
Yeah, Klingon. Does someone say Klingon? Kapla, Matt. Very good stuff. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right, Ian. The Ferrari is actually doing a really good job through that last couple of corners. And look how close Scotty has now got to the rear wing of that Jaguar. It's going to be a big slipstream for him down and across the line into the 23rd lap of this race. And this could be a move up the inside. Scotty's going to go for it. He's side by side. The question is, who's going to break the latest? And that inside line is so dominant into turn 1.
And there he is. He's through. He's made the position, and that is up into third. Yeah, I was trying to do the math. I was like, there's one extra missing Group 3 car. We can see if we can get it right. Third position. And a strong haul of points if he can hang on to this, but it is not done.
No, it certainly is not. Obviously, we know that the Jaguar Bluey has got a lot of pace on him, and he's proved it with his qualifying result. And actually, you can see in the background, there's Brucey. So Bluey and Brucey, separated by 2 letters in their name, sharing 3 of them, I believe. No, 4 of them. No, yes, 4 of them. Sharing 4. Yeah, I think MotorMotion E-Series has proven to us commentators that we need to get better at our mathematics, because we're all struggling with it ever so slightly. But yes, these 2 separated by only a couple of letters in their name. Bruce the Shark on that 2-stop strategy, and it looks like he does have fuel to the end. He's on a 1-stop strategy. My apologies. He's on the 1-stop strategy. Started on the medium tires though, which has cost him positions in this race.
Yeah, absolutely right. He went for something different, and he's still looking like in a reasonable position here, bearing in mind as well, of course, that there is no tyre requirement for this championship. So they don't have to use different tyres. They can just run the soft tyres in both stints if they choose. But it's interesting from Brucey because he's gone for the medium tyres at the start, but he's doing the same amount of laps that he's going to do on the soft tyres here in this second stint. So I wonder if maybe he just wanted to have more aggression in terms of how he drove that first stint, and now that he's on the softs, he's just having to pace himself a bit more so he doesn't end up with too much tyre wear at the end. Because normally you'd expect to run the mediums for a longer distance than you were choosing to run the softs. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, medium tyre will last 20 laps easily before it really starts to drop off. So you can run really deep into the race and then go for a 10-lap sprint essentially. That has not been the decision for the One Bike Racing driver today. We'll see if it does work out for him, if he can catch up to the rear wing of Bluey. Then he's in 4th place if he manages to do that. So keep an eye on that. We've got 6 laps to go. We're on the 24th lap of this race. Looking down further afield, Troy Brunel still in 13th. A little bit of a change for things at the moment. P1 Skippy now ahead of Mark Hogan. Hogan has fallen down into last place in the number 97 car. That is the Aston Martin of the Cooke team, missing their lead driver today. But at the moment, Captain Snooze, he is actually having a bit of a snooze out there. Pretty relaxing time. Take a little bit of a kip and relax into the race win at the moment. That seems to be the strategy. Really, from the beginning of this race all the way to the end. I mean, what a fantastic run off the line he had as well. Really secured that early P1, and then he was just unchallenged.
Yeah, certainly doing a great job out there in this car. He's snoozing in terms of how close his competition is. I'm not sure he's going to be snoozing so much in terms of still getting around this circuit. We saw a lot of tyre wear on the car for Nathan Wakefield. And yeah, these last few laps, he's going to have to be alert to not make any mistakes because these walls are so close. We've seen it catch drivers out. You have a moment and have a crash. This one is particularly the one to watch, but he seems like he's well switched on and can afford to leave just a little bit of a margin with the lead that he's got.
Yeah, it's the second to last corner, really. Third to last, technically, if you count the kink in the road that we're just coming up to. And it's a tricky one because you're on an uphill. It's slightly off camber. Technically speaking, it's actually flat road. That means you've got no inside camber to really hook you around that left-hander. And it means that your trail braking is absolutely key through there. You need to sort of touch on full brake, get right back off to 20% or 10% brake, and then loop around the corner and hope that you've got the grip. It's a very difficult corner to execute, and looks like most of the drivers in Split 2 have been doing a slightly better job of that for the most part than we saw in Split 2, where we saw drivers in the wall there, drivers coming together at that place, everyone every lap dipping a tyre onto the grass at the exit of that turn. But this time it's been a little bit cleaner, everyone being a little bit more conservative on this. So Troy Brunel going to be lapped now by Captain Snooze, who puts the hazard lights on. Has a really bad run through that corner. Not quite sure why, probably just trying to look after those tyres. They are in a very bad state right now. 3 laps to go, so he's safe, but these lap times dipping down into the 43s now for him, so he's in an awkward place. In the meantime, Airborne also in the 43s, and then look, there's Nick Pfaff. He's made his way up past Hasseldine. We knew that was going to be an easy one. Hasseldine right off the pace at the moment. He's running on the medium tyres at the end of this race, which I just don't think that's worked out for him at the end of the day. He hasn't found the pace on the mediums quite yet, but Pfaff, he's in the 42s. He's actually hit a 41.9 and holds the fastest lap of this race, 41.4 from earlier in the race. He's nearly a second and a half faster than Airborne. This is on for Nick Pfaff in P2.
Absolutely right. He's got a few laps still to do it. And we're seeing that this two-stop strategy can kind of get you back to where you were. He was, of course, racing around in second place early in the race before the strategy started to get involved. And now looks like he's going to be in the fight for second place again. Airborne is his target. And this shot of 12 and 13, you can see how much dirt, the grass has just been destroyed on the inside and the outside of the circuit. So many drivers just dropping 2 wheels over the edge, just absolutely pushing the limit, trying to carry speed. And Nick Pfaff is closing in at a great rate of knots.
Yeah, at some point someone grew grass there, and then they were told you need to keep the grass all good at the right length all the way through the circuit. And then, of course, their job got harder and harder and harder as the drivers made a bit of a mess of that area. And I think at this point they've just got to give up. Stop! Don't even sow grass at that place. Just give up. It's gone. It's dead. So there's a few places in the circuit that are somewhat like that, but yeah, you wouldn't want to be in charge of the gardening here at Sardegna, that is for sure. Close call here. Hodges does get out of the way nicely, and around the outside goes Airborne, but probably gets slightly slowed up as a result of that blue flag. So Nick Pfaff makes his way through cleanly, doesn't cost himself any time. And look at the grip difference there. You can just tell by the body language of the cars. Nick Pfaff able to get that front end turned right in. Airborne looking a little bit sheepish through those corners, trying to look after the tyres, and has damage. So this is a matter of when, not if, at this stage. And actually goes into the back of him.
Oh man, Nick Pfaff has just got so much more grip than Airborne at the moment. Airborne's struggling now with the worn tyres. This is, of course, the one-stop versus the two-stop strategy that we're seeing play out. Here is Nick Pfaff going to get a run. Similar straight line of speed, of course, you don't need the tyre grip there. But on the brakes, watch him close up. Or maybe watch him not close up that much. It was the mid-corner, really, where that advantage played out. And the extra, look at him put the power down right on the back. This is the dangerous spot. Oh, they're going to try and overtake the other car. Man, that was tight.
Wow. Nick Pfaff sort of faked it to the outside, well, technically what became the inside, but the outside, but then there's a GT4 there, so Airborne has to make a maneuver to get out of the way. And then Nick Pfaff suddenly finds himself run out of room, and that was another close call there. Airborne holding the inside line, doing his best, but Nick Pfaff is coming in at a rate of knots. And Airborne is just not going to be able to hold us on. Big slipstream now for Nick Pfaff. The GTR is going to make his way on through. Mazda engine, even though we're on board with the GTR, you can't actually hear the engine. All you can hear is the 11,000 RPM of that Mazda rotary engine powering as they go side by side into turn 1. And it's going to be a switcheroo from Nick Pfaff. Gets the tail out, but does get the power down. That is a move.
Oh, and Airborne was doing a strong job trying to defend that. He was holding on for so long. But in the end, it required a big move. It required some skilled driving with that switchback. But Nick Pfaff was up to the task, does get the position, and you have to say that's job done. Yeah, look at that gap just open up straight away. He pulls ahead into second spot. And unfortunately for them, there is a big gap up to Nathan Wakefield ahead. So I think second spot is where he's going to end up with just 1.5 laps left to go.
Yeah, that's right. And fuel is going to be very tight for Captain Snooze. And Nathan Wakefield has really taken this to the right to the raggedy edge in terms of his strategy. But you can see the time difference, and this is it. We know Nick Pfaff was on pace with what Nathan Wakefield was able to do. Very close qualifying between the two of them. I think it was about a 1/10 of a second. So similar pace, but that is the difference there in strategy between the 2-stop and the 1-stop. And yes, the 1-stop, look at his tires right now, absolutely gone. But he's not going to lose enough time for Nick Pfaff to really catch up to him at the end of the day. And that's 3 or 4, it's 2 or 3 corner distances at least difference there as we head now onto the final lap in the 83 car in the lead and looking to stay there, barring any small mistakes that do happen throughout the remainder of this final lap. But, I do wonder if Nick Pfaff had gone for the 1-stop strategy, he'd probably be in a neck-to-neck battle with Nathan Wakefield right now.
Yep, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I wonder if they will watch this race back at the end of things and, rue that decision a little bit. Maybe change their approach going into future rounds as well. Of course, 3 more rounds in the Manufacturers Masters Championship yet to come. And we have seen a penalty for the first time on this track.
Okay, that's a fairly rare event. It's very difficult to get a penalty here. He must have really cut that last little kink before the straight. Wow.
Yeah, I was trying to work out where you can even do that. There's so many walls around the circuit. But you're right, it must just be the kink on the straight, which you have to get it a little bit wrong to be over the line there.
I think I only know that because I've got a penalty there before at this track. So I haven't been able to get a penalty anywhere else at this circuit, so that must be it. You're absolutely right. It's the walls stop you from doing that, really. You can't really gain advantage on track for cutting the corners except for that final turn. We've got a nice bit of inside grass that you can run over should you choose to do so. Quick update for Group 4. Matt McCullum looking very, very solid as we head towards the last part of this race. Luke Stone has fallen right off the back of him. GLR Scott Taylor is looking to have secured 3rd place. Brucey has managed to make his way past Bluey. Fantastic stuff there, and there's the rest of the grid. But it is this man. It is Captain Nathan Wakefield, the Capitan himself for Black Rose Racing, takes pole position, takes the race win, and that is a perfect weekend for the Black Rose Racing team, looking to make a charge back in the points for the remainder of this season and half race distance with a race win now under his belt. And for Black Rose Racing belt, he will be a happy, happy man. Astor Racing's Nick Pfaff comes across the line, takes P2. Airborne will come across the line next, a 3rd place for him. Massive congratulations. That's a great drive for Campbell Knowles, and Troy Britnell, the team owner of Lightning Motorsport, will be absolutely stoked with that. And then we look down the field. Luke Stone has come across the line in 2nd place for the Group 4s. 3rd place to Scott Taylor, the team owner of Gridline Racing. And this man, CG Motorsports, the number 25 car. Great race he's had against some very tough competition in Luke Stone and Big Bruce and Scotty, of course. He will be taking P1 in the Group 4 category. Well done to him. He's managed to get himself into a position, though, that he has to do an extra lap, so he'll literally be the last one across the line. So we refocus on this man right now, Nathan Wakefield. Fantastic race. Let's head over and see the final results. Well, and there we have it. Your Group 3 results up on screen right now. Nathan Wakefield for Black Rose Racing. Hats off to that man. From pole position to race win. Absolutely superfluous. Got a fantastic start and then cruised his way home with a 1-stop strategy. Nick Pfaff on the 2-stop strategy Makes it work, but not quite as much as he probably would have liked at the end of the day. Still, 15 points he takes home. That's a great result for him. Campbell Knowles in third place for Lightning Motorsport, one of their best results so far. The split rearrangement certainly working out for them at the moment. Of course, sans Andrew Scott, who was not able to race today. Then it's Mark Hasteldine, Craig Harcourt, Ricky Atwell, and Aidan Chase, the rest of your top 7 finishers in the Group 3 category. Looking over to the Group 4 results, Matt McCullum, great stuff, was stuck in a battle with Luke Stone for a number of laps, but did manage to find his way up to the top spot. Great work by him. Luke Stone in P2 for Hooncorp Esports. Scott Taylor, the victor of the mess that was the midfield in Group 4, takes home 12 points for Gridline Racing. Then it's Glenn Mead, former race winner in Group 4 Split 2. Fortunately, only able to get 4th position in that Audi today. Steve Smith, Troy Britnell, Mark Hogan, and Dave Crook round out your grid. And that is your results today. And a good race overall in Split 2. It was a race where the strategies looked to sort of separate the cars quite a significant amount.
Yeah, it certainly did. That was a big factor. And something that was quite interesting is the 2 drivers that we've seen dominant in the previous 2 rounds really weren't able to repeat that here in round number 3. So the likes of Glenn Mead was a little bit down the order, and Mark Haseldine as well in the Group 3 cars. So really interesting, really close series I think we've set up for the second half of the championship.
Couldn't agree more. And of course, we have round 4 ahead of us, going to Kyoto. So flying over to Japan. That's where the cars will line up next week. But that is basically going to be our coverage today. We do have standings to go through. We do understand. We've got the standings coming up on screen in a moment's time. So let's go over to those right now and see where things are, in fact, at a stand. So right now, Gopi Mahindrajit on 57 points for Gridline Racing, still leading the way on the back of those 2 first race wins. Then it's Mark Haseldine in second on 50 points. Again, 2 race wins to his name in round 1, round 2. Then it's Nick Pfaff on 39 points, 11 points separating him from being up there in the top 2. Lewis Atkinson, Matt Donetti, Nathan Wakefield, Craig Harcourt, Tony Griffin, and looking down the rest of the field, Richard Robertson, Ricky Atwell, Campbell Knowles, who's got a good bit of points to his name as a result of today's race. Riley Nicholson, Andrew Scott with the DNS today, unfortunately. Mitchell Collin, Aidan Chase, and Nicholas Williams. And I'll hand over Group 4 for you.
So out in front of Group 4, it would be no surprise to see the name of Xander Stewart. He has been dominant, but he is tied there with Matt McCullum. This is a close championship that is heating up. Glenn Mead now in 3rd position, and Michael Brill in 4th. They're close as well, so keep an eye on that battle. Scott Taylor in 5th, Blake Williamson's in 6th, Luke Stone and Dave Crook round out the top 8. Then we have Shane Attard in 9th, Graham Splint, Troy Britnell in 11th, Dylan Scarborough, of course, missed a round last week. He's up in 12th though. Steve Smith in the 13th, Mark Scarborough, Mark Hogan, and Bryce Kentwell rounding out our field.
All right, let's take a little look at the teams, or what we should call the manufacturer teams standings. Over there, it is Ferrari in the lead, 91 points to their name. They were leading at the end of round 2 as well. Now still leading, of course, Gridlines Racing. Scotty had a good result today. Gopi managed to find his way to P2, so still good points for them. But then it's Honda. This has been a round for Honda. They've got themselves within 1 point with a race win in Group 3 and Group 4. Massive points for them, and they've charged back up the field, and they look to be the team who are going to be challenging the Ferraris this season. BMW in 3rd place on 76 points, followed by Audi, One Bite Racing. Still good points to their name, 1 point adrift of that 3rd position. 2 points behind them, it's Lamborghini, CP Motorsports, Porsche, MotorMotion Racing Team, Chevrolet, Hooncorp Esports, Nissan, the Astor Racing Team. And then the rest of the grid looks like this. Black Rose Racing, Colin Racing Team in 10th, Spectra Motorsport, Rusty Nuts Racing, Lightning Motorsport, Me Cougar Driver Development, Sparrow, and the last team at the moment, Team Capital in 16th position. So yeah, a lot of battles going around the grid at the moment in terms of the standings, Matt. It is close at the top, and it's close for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th as well.
Yeah, what a great format this series is turning out to be, isn't it? We love to see the close racing. We love to see a close championship, and the fact that it's a mix of these Group 4 and these Group 3 cars that contribute to the overall manufacturer, I just think it's so much fun. But yeah, like you were saying there, what a round for Yugen Global Racing. They've dragged themselves right back into this championship fight, and a little bit of disappointment maybe for Hassel 1, who didn't get the results this round and have dropped down the order.
That's right. So a very quick mention of our driver of the days. Let us know in chat, of course, who's your driver of the day for Split 1 and Split 2 in both the Group 3 and Group 4 categories. But for me, I think, today, Nathan Wakefield, we usually try and avoid giving the driver of the day just to, the person who wins the race. But from pole position to checkered flag, what a race, well executed. The strategy worked well. He was on almost no tyres at the end. So Nathan Wakefield certainly gets my vote for Group 3. How about yourself for Group 3 in Split 2?
Yeah, what a great drive from him. I think Airborne's the other one with honourable mention. He did a great job there. He had sort of a little bit of disappointing round 1 and 2, but he's shown tonight that he still has the pace to be fighting up there to get himself on the podium. Was a great drive in that Mazda.
Certainly is. And for the Group 4 in Split 2, I'm going to give it to Scotty. He was the one who stayed out of the mess that was the midfield of Group 4 and brought home a podium. So really, really well done there. Luke Stone and Matt McCullum, obviously, honourable mentions. Good racing by them. But Scotty Taylor in third place, I think he deserves some accolades today.
Absolutely right. I'm with you there, Scotty, and Luke Stone as well, gaining positions in that race. Both those drivers did a great job.
Absolutely right. And that will then round out our coverage here at round 3 for the Manufacturer Masters Season 1. It's been fantastic being in the commentary box with you, Matt. Some final words, and then we'll head to the end of the stream.
Yeah, thanks for that, George. No, it has been another night of racing here in the Manufacturers Masters. I've certainly enjoyed it. The drivers have put on a great show. It's been a close battle. I'm loving seeing the GT original circuits throughout the series. They're really making this racing exciting, and I can't wait for the remaining 3 rounds.
And that rounds out our coverage today. Let's take a little look at the calendar coming up. Round 3 now all done at Sardegna A, and now we move over to our race that happens on Tuesday, May the 6th. Broadcast will be next Saturday for round 4, where we head to Kyoto Driving Park for a twilight race, 30 laps. It's going to be a real spectacle. The LED lights going to be shining all around this fantastic circuit. Looks like we'll be going to the Yamagawa plus the Miyabi circuit. That's TBD. I believe there's some discussion on how long the race will be for that round. Then looking ahead, round 5, Dragon Trail Seaside, and finishing up the season, of course, St. Croix B. So the 6-round season now halfway done. The manufacturer title standings looking as close as anything, and as like the Drivers' Championships in both Group 3 and Group 4, tight as anything. So this is going to be a fantastic race going forward. Until then, make sure to check out www.MotorMotionEseries.wordpress.com. MotorMotion E-Series, of course, bringing you some of the best oceanic GT7 racing. And go and check out their Facebook as well, where races are organized, and their brand new Discord. Give us a like and a subscribe on the MotorMotion E-Series YouTube channel if you are watching there. And another big thanks to our primary sponsor of the Manufacturer Masters, TrackSpotTV, who are also bringing you the broadcasting and commentary today. Check us out on TrackSpot.tv, the website, where you can sign up for and register for the broadcasting commentary services that we provide. And also, if you're interested in becoming a commentator or a broadcaster, you can register your interest to join the team. My name's George Cooke. I've been joined today by John Wright and Matthew Smith. Thank you all so much for joining us in chat. We will, of course, see you at the next race, and have a great rest of your weekend.